This is an Alternerd reality podcast.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the A&R podcast. This is a podcast for all things nerdy, all things video games, basically everything awesome, folks. I am one of your hosts, Chewburger84, and joining me as always is the heroic Hebrew Hammer.
What's up, everyone?
And the predatory Piker.
Ooh, that's a bad intro.
I know. I think I need to come up with new P words. It's like I'm slowly working through. So far, there's like 2 for 2 for negative. I think next week, I'm going to think it's more like Predator the movie, not like Predator like Kevin Spacey. You know what I mean?
Oh, man, you're doing me dirty.
It's going to come full circle. You'll end up getting the biggest shout-outs. I'm just going to shit on Mike weekly. It's all right. Everyone's going to get their turn. Except for me, because I host this shit. So, no. I'm sure you guys are going to be plenty of shit over the series of the show. Pleasure to have you, boys. All right, let's get all the shameless plugs out of the way. Folks, if you're enjoying this podcast, make sure you tell your friends about it. What better way to have a gaggle of nerds talking about their favorite things? I would really appreciate that. If you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, head on over there and give us a review. If you do leave us a 5-star review, we will read that out live on air next week at the end of the show. It really, really helps us get exposure. And finally, we do have our Patreon. All the perks activate as of October 1st. We'll be up, we'll be live, we'll be ready to rock and roll. That's going to include a video live version of this show as well that we're going to post immediately after the show's recording. That means that you can get it way ahead of everyone else. It's unedited, unfiltered. Not that we take that much out. You guys have heard this podcast already. But if you want to help support the show financially, head to the Patreon site at www.patreon.com/ANRpod. I just want to say a quick thank you to Scott, Rob, and Fat Honey Badger who have jumped the gun. They're in a little bit early, and I really appreciate you guys. And we'll get the full list out of all the patrons from next week at the end of the show. So, boys, what have we been playing and watching this week?
So for me, I've been playing, because I've been like really, really excited about this new game coming out called Genshin Impact. So I have been playing its sister game, which has been out for a little bit now, made by the same company, called Honkai Impact. And it is surprisingly so much fun. I highly recommend this. I'm not really going to go into it because there's a bunch of other games for the mobile segment that we'll get to later on, but it is a really good game. Check it out. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of that on mobile, and then I have been, of course, playing some Avengers on the side, but my time has definitely been dialed down this week. Might pick back up because I know we have a patch, which we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, mostly those two things because my first round of exams are coming up like tomorrow. Ooh, so I've been studying like crazy. So game time has been low. But that's pretty much it for my week.
How'd you back out?
Yeah, so a little bit of Avengers this week. Not too much. I think I got in my dailies like once, such as the dad life right now. But that and been still, playing the Marvel Strike Force game that, for reasons passing understanding, I am still playing. Talking to 2 former players, they are much smarter men than I. So it was quite the week, shall we say, over in MSF land.
It's so funny talking about Marvel Strike Force too, because it's like when a lot of people we talk to, it's like when you talk to one of your mates who comes to you over beers going, God, man, my girlfriend is being such a bitch, and you don't like her, and you're like, yeah, man, like, just, there are better people out there. Like, you can do way better. Do it. And they're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna end it. And then the next day, it's just like, oh man, how good is Marvel Strike Force? I'm still playing, man. Like, I love it so much.
I have long since held the belief that MSF is the epitome of an abusive girlfriend-boyfriend relationship. 100%. It is
absolutely. Yeah. So it's a perfect segue because what I was thinking before we started, recording tonight was that there's never been a video game, especially a mobile game, that provides you with so much original content for like mishaps that have happened that week. Like I need to start like a MSF mishap segment of the show every week just to cover the latest, cuck up that they've, unleashed upon the player base. But to give you a summary, because I know that you're out of the sphere now, Chew, and Hebrew, you are long gone. I'm sure, thankfully. But
yes, Happily so.
The long-awaited, shall we say, next legendary character of Doc Ock was released upon the player base this week, and it was really unique in a lot of ways. So first, this was the first legendary character that they actually enabled on the test server for, envoys and some of the people in the test program to try out before it was in the live game. So, all of the, content creators are doing backflips and naked cartwheels, just masturbating about all of the content that they can, make now and record, only to find out that he's bugged on the test server to, no one's surprise.
Bugged how?
Mm-hmm.
So his summons wasn't working properly. Go figure, summons has always been a mechanic that, the devs have famously struggled with figuring out and getting to work properly. But it wasn't summoning the right characters in order, and it wasn't functioning the way that the ability description was written, which, again, has always been consistency that they've struggled with. And I kid you not, there was a typo in the JSON tag for the character. He was supposed to provide charge to all chargeable allies, and they literally misspelled the word chargeable.
Oh, I'm not surprised about that.
No.
Those people are fucking idiots over there.
So
I thought you were going to say that like it just gave like energy to everyone. I was going to be like, oh my God.
No, we'll get to something for everyone in a second, but everything got reported, and we're, confident that by the time this character releases, they'll have worked it out. They'll, this is the start of a new frontier for them. They're going to test these things before they're launched. How little did we actually know? So the character, dropped on a Monday night. I can't remember the last time a new character's legendary release had such little attention paid to it and just randomly happened on a Monday night. Usually it's like a Thursday, a Friday, or Saturday. There's all kinds of buzz and lead up. This character had none of that. And he came to the game and he was bugged. But surprisingly enough, bugged in none of the ways that he was bugged on the test server. All of the bugs were new.
New ways to bug them.
Yes.
Nice. I mean, that's pretty typical.
Yeah. So instead of, having summoning issues, that appeared to have been worked out, the character provides offense down to, all enemies. And instead of him providing offense down to just the enemies, he was providing offense down to everyone. Allies, enemies, every single character on the board. It was like Oprah Winfrey going, you get offense down, and you get offense down, and everyone gets offense down. So that was, wonderful. They scrambled to release a stealth sort of patch to him to fix it. And what do you know? It fixed that problem and caused a second bug on him.
So basically this is like they are a sinking ship with tons of holes in them, and whenever they move one finger to plug one, another one pops out.
That's
starts
exactly
leaking water.
Yeah, paint to a picture of a guy that's like in almost full splits with like a toe on each side of the boat, finger, and then like his cock stuck through the bottom of the boat. Just going, what else have I got? Yeah.
Yeah. And so, everybody is submitting these bug requests, and they're just getting lit up on Reddit. And what did they decide to do but to release a new game icon art, via their blog? So instead of, patching their brand new legendary character and making sure it's fixed, they're touting the new icon for the new age of Marvel Strike Force, which completely, epitomizes the studio in, not worrying about getting the game right, but just working on pretty art.
Yeah, just what's the next thing instead?
So what are they saying is the new age? Like what's the marketing here? It's just like, oh, we've put all our disastrous dev work behind us. Is that the idea?
So
clearly that's not the case.
They literally took and got rid of they got rid of the yellow, like goldish Strike Force shield, and instead they took the 4 most popular characters and just put them in 4 boxes in a square. It looks.
Now I think I saw you guys taking the piss out of this. It wasn't actually the top 4 characters. It was like the 4 least popular. Is that right?
So they've said those are the 4 most popular characters.
Wasn't one of them Nobu?
No, that was somebody else being funny.
Oh, right, okay. Because I only saw the funny piss takes on our servers. Of course, I didn't see the original. There you go.
Yeah.
Also, basically, as always, MSF is a dumpster fire.
Oh, it gets better. So as if they weren't having a bad enough week, randomly this evening, we got Blitz and Raids auto sims released into the game.
Okay.
So just, one thing after another. And, this was actually something that people were jumping up and down, super excited about.
Yeah.
Sims have been something people have been begging for months, if not years in this game. And so today it was like the answered prayers of the masses, were being shouted down from heavens on high, only to get a statement like 2 hours later that it was an unintentional, in development, not ready for release mechanic that inadvertently got enabled live for half the players that may come back in 3 months, and half of it may never see the light of day again, so don't get your hopes up. That was basically the too long didn't read version.
I honestly, I have never, ever seen such a disorganized, disastrous company in my life whenever it comes to even mobile games, which are like, it's like the stepchild that you keep in the basement of video games. And this is still by far the worst one. Like, I don't understand how it is that bad, especially when they're making so much more money than all these other games that, are even just like clones of it and do their content just as well, just as often, but never have these kinds of fuck ups. I don't understand what's wrong with this game or the developers. Like, people try to defend them all the time by saying, well, it's a hard thing to get right and it takes a lot of testing and blah, blah, blah. I don't buy it anymore. I think these people are all just straight up incompetent. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. So one of the content creators I was having a chat with during the week about a couple of non-MSF things, and he was saying they went through and they looked at the last 43 character releases, just the character releases, nothing else. 24 of them were bugged.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's an insane amount. And what drives me insane as well is that, like, and I always say Fox next because I don't really want to tarnish Scopely with the same brush because they're their owner now and obviously their name's on it. But, they really need to get rid of, whoever it is that is running QA or final coding or anything like that and just put Scopely in charge.
Yeah.
Because, like, they run a slick outfit. Sure, a lot of their practices with loot boxes is predatory as all get out. But one thing they do is make slick, consistent games, right? Yes, they have bugs, but then they'll overcompensate. Like, it's kind of a known deal when you're dealing with Scopely. But, man, the addition of Marvel Strike Force into their roster at the start of this year, they were doing a funding round, and they were valued at $1.9 billion as Scopely as a company. They're doing a funding round right now. Asking for a few $100 million from investors, and they're currently valued at about $3 billion.
Jesus Christ.
Just insane.
It's just unbelievable, man. But it's just one of those games that if it wasn't for the IP, I don't know how many times we said this when we were covering for it, if they didn't have the pull of Marvel and the talented art department that game has, it would have been dead on arrival.
Yeah.
Like, no one would have put up with it.
Yeah, they know it too. They fucking exploit the hell out of that.
They're in milking phase. Like, you look at how so much of it is just designed just to get as much money out of people as quickly as possible. I think they know that too. And that's when you hear like Marvel Strike Force 2 is coming out soon, and this one won't be fucked. Yeah. Hey, for interest's sake, how do the Sims work? Do you know? Like, is it a full click a button and then it's done? Is there a paid for segment? I was curious to see. There's got to be another shoe when it comes to Fox Next. It's never just, this is a great quality of life thing you guys asked for. There's always a catch.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, we obviously weren't looking at a finished product, and they obviously didn't mean for it to go live. But I didn't have it enabled on my account, but a few people in our alliance did, and they were able to run through it. So they were able to do a complete blitz rotation in 6 minutes, and they were able to auto their, first 5 Greek nodes in about 20 seconds.
Okay, now when you say auto, do you have to watch it, or do you push a button and it's done?
You push a button,
like, it's just instant win.
Yep,
that's good.
A guaranteed win, no matter what your team combo was.
So the blitz, I'm not entirely sure. I know that the raid, you just the kind of the main node screen, I guess, before you go into the actual battle, kind of where you see like what node you're on. It just, took your player icon along your path and kind of automatically did those nodes for you, and you would see your character's health, dip down a little bit as you continued through. I don't know the specifics on how, like, if someone died, who it pulled in on the next node or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just a situation where kind of, at the level, these guys were at, it just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and done.
It's a good point because there's so much like micromanagement in each match whenever it comes to raids that it's crazy to me that they just allow you to auto win it, especially up at the higher end. So that is surprising.
My guess is because the AI we all know in that game is just pure terrible. Like it's so bad. Like it uses the wrong abilities in the wrong order. It doesn't wait for things to charge up. If it relies on the enemy having an ability to get the most out of it, it won't wait. It'll just go and just roll straight out. So
super counter.
I'm assuming the penalty will be, it's just like, well, you play it yourself, you got a better chance of winning. If you leave us in charge, we're going to drive this bad boy off a cliff and you're not going to get as many wins. I feel like that's going to be the bare minimum penalty.
Yeah.
Whether it's more than that, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I think you hit the nail on the head whenever you said there's a catch somewhere. So what will the catch be? And I'm sure it will be in the house's favor, whatever it is.
For sure. So, I mean, they also said that this is something for the Blitz Sim side that would release whenever you hit a certain level. So no idea what that level is going to be, but they're putting in some checks there, so you can't be a new player and just have access to this. Yeah,
that I actually don't disagree with. I think that's fair because you do need to learn how to do those things before you can start autoing them.
Sure.
I'm half expecting to go the Galaxy of Heroes route. So in that, you actually had a currency. You can only have a certain amount of sims. And most games that have like a simulation, same deal. Like you've got like a finite amount based on a particular currency, which you earn through, surprise, surprise, playing many hours of the game. I'll be curious to see which way that way goes, man. So
what about you? What have you done this week?
Obviously Avengers still, but significantly less. There's a patch that just came through last night. It's had a lot of quality of life fixes. I only got about 2 hours in before I went to bed. But they have made some really big changes. So they patched the daily bug, which meant that the main missions we weren't able to get every day. In my case, I wasn't able to successfully get it for more than 2 weeks. Fantastic. But what they are doing is rolling out 250 of the premium currency, the polychorons, the hardest to get, to everyone as a way of helping you catch up. So that's good. They've even further nerfed a lot of the projectiles from the enemies, which was 100% necessary. Some of them that weren't parryable, or some of them whose icons didn't come up and you just suddenly got murdered by something you couldn't dodge because you didn't know it was coming. They've patched a lot of that in according to the notes. Haven't had time to test it yet. But now that we've had the weekly reset, I'll probably have a go at the Mega Hive later on today and see how that goes. Cap's had a little bit of tuning as well. So when he runs around with his shield, he's actually acting like a battering ram now, which looks really, really cool for point control. So you can basically like run around with his shield, push guys off the edge, which by itself is pretty rad. So he's looking really good. He can throw his shield. Yeah, he can throw his shield to break doors now, which is good because he was the only character that couldn't get into any of their randomized loot rooms. So that was definitely a positive change. Now, they've got some announcements that are coming up soon. One of them was the quality of life issue that the three of us definitely talked about consistently, which is when you push up on the D-pad and you say, okay, what am I going to do on this map? It lasts about 3 seconds, right? Then you have to push it again. Where are my teammates? Oh, God, I got to push it again. They're going to shift that to a toggle. So you toggle it on, you toggle it off. It either stays up, goes away. So that was definitely a good one. There's some big quality of life things coming, but the conversation I'm not seeing yet, and apparently there's going to be a war table today, although I think they've already missed the window, is the endgame loot. Like, that's the problem, that once they've removed all these barriers to play and people can actually play the game more and catch up to where myself and a few other guys are at, when you get to the end game, there's a lot of grind, there's a lot of repetition, right? And we're used to that in these kind of grind games, but there's no loot. And that's a really, really big problem. And if they don't address it, they're going to go the way of Destiny. Active player numbers that have come out from Xbox and PC are insanely low. We have like Marvel puzzle style games that have more active players right now than a brand new AAA title that came out this month.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad signs. And I think the press is getting out there that people are just saying, you know what? I remember Destiny. I remember Anthem. I'm just going to wait. Like, there's no point rushing in now. I'm just going to wait until it's in the state that it should be. Why would I do all the free QA for them? So, yeah, at the moment, I'm just sort of going to tune in. I'm going to do my weeklies once a week. I'm going to do my 20 minutes of dailies now that we can do those each day. And then I'm going to get out of Dodge because there's no real reason to play until we get that new content with Kate Bishop at the end of the month. Because it doesn't sound like we're getting anything before that. So, who knows? The war table may change things. But, yeah, it's in a pretty bad shape, I got to admit.
Yeah, they 100% deserve the active players that they're getting right now, in my opinion. Probably you guys agree with that. It's just the state that it's in is ridiculous, and I can't believe that they released it the way it was, considering the state it's in. I'm glad to see that they actually made some changes, but it took them way too long to actually implement these changes. These changes should have been in there way before this. So I hope it picks back up later on, but yeah, I don't blame anyone for taking time off.
Oh, for sure. And there's persistent bugs still, too. Like, I've lost 2 costumes that I bought this week again. So I'm going to have to go out to customer service and say, look, really? Are we doing this again?
Yeah.
And the other thing as well is, like, the premium currency they said everyone would get as of 10 a.m. PDT yesterday from my time. That hasn't happened either. So, yeah, I don't know what the story is. It's...
yeah. I mean, they better hope that Kate Bishop content is engaging and doesn't disappoint, because if that lets people down, if there's not a lot of substance to it, if people don't find it enjoyable, it's going to set them back so far, and I don't know if they can come back from that.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably where I disagree, is I think they can, because I think now, and this wouldn't surprise me, like, I'd love to sit into like a boardroom call, you know, during a Destiny or during an Avengers launch and just hear what they're going to say, where they say things like, look, we all know this wasn't ready. We all know we probably should have given this another year in the oven. We haven't got content. We haven't got those new characters. Like, it's really basic, guys. Like, you pushed it out way too early. Or whether they just acknowledge that and go, okay, you know, Q1, that's going to be all the bugs, all the this, all the that. And then as time goes by, we're going to evolve it to this point. So we're expecting low player numbers, we're expecting attrition, and then we're expecting a full bounce back by the end of Q4 to the actual what would have been launch. And we'll do a rebrand, and we'll get characters in. We'll release, you know, something really new and exciting, and that's when our real launch is. Like, internally, I wonder if they strategize like this now, when crunch has gone terribly, they've worked these poor devs to the absolute bone, and then release something that's unfinished. And then in their mind, they go, we know that. We're not going to tell the public that. We want some of their money now so that we get a funding bump, which will help us invest more cash to finish what we're going to do in 6 to 12 months from now. And I think players are getting more and more tired of being the fucking quality control department for, you know, key developers. We're used to it in mobile gaming now, but the fact it's coming into AAA titles, yeah, it's not ideal.
Yeah, I would say that I think that Destiny is the exception, not the rule, on what people are willing to put up with, because it's had a huge player base. From the beginning, it was like the first one of its kind, and people kind of had to deal with it because there was nowhere else to go if you wanted to play a game like that. This one's a little bit different also in the fact that it has the Marvel IP, and every single Marvel game always gets a bump whenever a new Marvel movie comes out, because they always synced some type of content with it, which is great. So it might survive it as well, for that, I think. But I mean, I will say, like, if you look at Anthem and stuff like that, like, because of this same situation, like, it's basically, I mean, it still has some player base, but it isn't anything like what it could have been, and it never will be anymore. So there are luckily a few things that kind of, you know, put this in the more of the Destiny realm than the Anthem realm as far as survivability, but yeah, I mean, I certainly hope it is, because that's the thing that's frustrating to all of us, is that we see so much potential in it. It's just so frustrating that it feels like the devs aren't working with what they could be. So yeah,
absolutely. Yep. But we've seen so many of these developers where I think this has been the strat, man. Like, I mean, you look at the ones that have a roadmap, the ones that have a very clear plan, and they have a publisher that's willing to back them. They're the ones that survive. Like the fact that this is Square Enix gives me a lot more hope. I've said that before. You know, whereas EA, like, look what they did to Mass Effect Andromeda. Like, look what they did with Anthem, where they basically said, you guys didn't sell the billions of units that we wanted you to. Oh, tough. All right, bye.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
they just kill it.
The thing I don't understand is why couldn't they have invested a fraction of the money they spent on marketing this game pre-launch into QA? Like, they spent a ton of money before this game was even out promoting the shit out of it. That could have easily gone into QA and made a much better game that had a much better retention rate at this point in its life cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that honestly, just as Chu said earlier, I think like mobile games have normalized us to this kind of ongoing, you know, bug fixing and new content releases, like, and we'll fix it on the next patch kind of thing. It's really normalized it, and it is bad that it's seeping into AAA titles now too. But I think that is what it's coming from as well. I think you kind of know.
Well, I think normalized for players like us, sure. Like, I mean, the ones that are like, I got to buy it day one. Like, you know, I've got a PS5 on pre-order. You've got a PS5 and an Xbox, which we're going to talk about in a sec, because we have to play first. That's just the mentality we are, right? But I think these numbers on Steam and PS4, like the low initial sales and then now the lower player retention, where people have gone, oh, okay, it's going to be one of those. Let me save my sanity. I'm just going to uninstall now, and I'll come back in a couple of months. So I think that, like, you know, average Joe player, which is, you know, most people out there, they're playing for a little bit of fun for an hour or two in between, you know, putting the kids to bed or uni, whatever. They're not, you know, sort of normalized by it. They're just sort of going, I'm going to wait. I'm going to save my cash. I think coronavirus as well. You probably get a lot of people very skeptical about where to put their cash. And in a very chock-full back end of the year, I mean, let's be real. This podcast, we did not intend on being 2.5, 3 hours every week for the first couple of months, guys. Like, it's just been, there is so much happening in the sphere of all the things that got pushed back with Corona that people are like, why would I drop $50 to $100, depending on my country I'm buying it, on this unfinished thing, when if I wait a month, I can get, you know, the full World of Warcraft expansion. Or if I wait another month after that, I can get Cyberpunk 2077. Why would I do any of that when I can just go to Game Pass and I've got literally hundreds of games that I can play for my $15 a month? And the games that are coming through, we're going to talk about this a lot today. Oh my God, they are so fucking good. So with these sort of services out there, when you're selling a standalone AAA title now, I think it's getting to that point where people are just going, fuck you, man. Like, why would I do this for you? I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to go and play fun stuff that brings me joy. You let me know when your game's really ready and I'll come back. Maybe. Maybe if you're offering a discount or you put it on Game Pass.
Yeah, I think it's normalized for the game developers more so than the audience. Like, we've definitely got it, but I think, like, that kind of mentality of, like, things are okay to be shipped out later on has affected the developers in AAA titles, and that is what the problem is. So, but yeah, I the fact that they are going to have to be a lot more careful now, considering more options are out there for them. Yeah.
Now let me go from that caused me a lot of frustration to something that brought me a lot of joy this week is I finally got to spend a lot more time in the world of Wasteland 3. And goddamn, that game is fun. It's bringing me all the turn-based beats that I love from Fallout 2 and in Wasteland 2, for that matter. But a lot of the comedic hits, like this is what I really loved about these post-apocalyptic things where like people are a little bit crazy and people don't have the same kind of filters that we, you know, have in modern society. Like a lot of that stuff makes sense. So the characters are very, you know, out there and, you know, there's a lot of development and depth in some of the characters. And they'll go from that to like, there was one guy that you are interrogating at one point for information. And he's basically telling you this story. And then if your perception is high enough, your character will realize what you already realized, that the guy is actually describing the roughest shit he ever took. Right? Because he's sitting there going, you know, I was walking through the canyon of, you know, blah, 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 and there was this and this. And yeah, it's just basically it was a 10-minute long shit joke. It was like, man, just all those little sort of beats in there, which is a lot of fun. Like just really, really fun, cheesy things. You've got like little radio stations. There was like a heavy metal remake of the Monster Mash. That was just all awesome. These little things. I'm like, man, I love this. I love this so much. And the fact that I didn't have to pay for this game because I'm on Game Pass is like even better. So I cannot recommend that game enough. It's a hell of a lot of fun if you like your turn-based RPGs.
Is the
It's just
dialogue
really-
kind of like Borderlandsy? Because that's kind of what it sounds like.
A lot of it can be. I mean, I've just come across there's like randomly when driving around the world, because there's like there is in between bits now where you've got like a vehicle that you're driving around and kind of exploring and looking from one town to the next, and stuff can happen in between the towns while you're driving and stuff.
Right.
So this giant circus tent was there, and I think the best way to describe what I've come across is just absolutely batshit crazy versions of Insane Clown Posse. Like just fully murderous, and they're strapping dynamite to pigs, so you have to like shoot the pigs before they get to you, otherwise they'll blow up. And if you like can sneak in, you can shoot the pigs before they get the dynamite off, so then you blow them up. And it's just crazy. But those characters remind me a lot of the Borderlands,
The Psychos.
Yeah. So I think very much it has vibes of that. But bear in mind, Borderlands very much inherited that sense of humor from predecessors like Wasteland and Fallout. So yeah, if you're into this sort of game, or even if you're not, look, I mean, if you have Game Pass, just check it out. I've heard the Xbox version is actually rocking pretty well as well. Like it's working pretty well for a turn-based game to control that on Xbox. So yeah, definitely a recommend it from me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, nice.
All right, TV-wise, I finally started on the current season of Walking Dead. Only seen 2 episodes so far. I don't know. I haven't been enjoying that show as much for a little while, and diving more into this whole alpha character. Yeah, have you guys been keeping up with that show?
I am a season behind because I watch on Netflix.
Right.
Yeah, I saw the first season, and I fell out after the first season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't make it very far in at all?
No, I did not.
Oh, wow. I keep up with it.
I don't
just
blame that,
I'm not going
though.
to go anywhere to find it other than Netflix.
Yeah, I think you can definitely wait. At the moment, it's very slow going. I mean, they've been getting more and more that like nothing happens until the mid-season break, and then there's something disastrous,
Yeah.
and then there's like a resolution episode, then there's nothing happens, and then a big cliffhanger. Like it's been the same recipe for a while, and then the enemy just slightly changes a little bit. So I think Negan for me was probably the highlight. And then now we're in this. I don't really find... I mean, I find the new enemy interesting, but not enough to like really want to know more about them the same way I did with Negan. I think it's going to be pretty hard to make lightning strike twice, to have someone where you go, man, that character is just menacing and entertaining in one big basket.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, like the 2 big villains, one of them kind of has an asterisk next to it, but was it Shane? His friend originally? Season 2 or 3. Yeah. He is one of my favorites. He's the one with the asterisk next to it because I'm not sure if he would be technically called a villain, but he sure was pretty villainous towards the end. And then, yeah, Negan, of course, number 1. That's been one of the most compelling villains I've ever seen in a TV show, period.
Yeah, I didn't mind the Governor. I thought that was a decent season with the whole prison storyline.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. I thought he was just a poor man's Negan at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's hard to go back from Negan.
It seemed like they tried to recreate. Yeah, it's like almost like they had different versions of Negan before, and then they just finally found the winning recipe, because none of them were quite satisfying enough before that.
That's it.
But yeah, Negan was the one.
Absolutely. And then I had
Neo
a
was
lot
the
of my
one.
buds. Negan was the one. I had a lot of my buds tell me I needed to finish the final season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. So I've heard that there is some kind of a reveal at the end of that season that I need to get to. So I'm curious to see what that is, to see whether everything that's been happening in that show is officially part of the MCU, or whether at some point it kind of diverged out. Like I'm wondering, without giving too much spoilery things away, I'm wondering whether what they're doing now is potentially going to remove parts of what they did or who they are from the actual MCU.
Oh, interesting. See, that's one show I've recently been considering going back to and watching the last couple seasons. I think I caught like the first 3 or 4, which were really, really good. Once I think, was it Grant died and then was reincarnated as like an evil guy on some alien planet, I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I fell out right there, and I've never gone back.
See, I think when it was at its best, it was like, it was tied into the movies. So, like, when they had Winter Soldier and the Fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., and you saw them have to deal with that, like, that was when it was at its best.
amazing.
And I think all these really things like, now it's Avengers on the moon, now it's Avengers in space, now it's Avengers in a simulation of the world where Hydra took over things. And now there's, another element that takes them out of the current time frame and out of the universe, that I feel like they're doing this deliberately because they want to distance it pretty severely from the MCU. Like, there was a very line in the sand. You could kind of see they're doing everything they can to avoid current day characters.
Right. Yeah. That's what I thought that they were going for. I thought everything was canon in that, or was supposed to be at least originally.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that the big reveal at the end, considering it's the final season, that it would have been something relating to the MCU, like a tease about something with the MCU in the future. But maybe it's not, or maybe it might be some kind of reset function that allows most of it to be canon or something like that. But yeah.
Well, that's why I'm really keen on getting to that next week. Trying to get through that as much as I can, and then of course watch the episode 5 of The Boys, and that was a good one.
Yes, it was,
dude.
Oh,
all I gotta
say, the spoiler cast coming up soon
is laser eyes, man. Laser eyes.
That's it. That was not challenging to masturbate to at all. Yeah, so that show, man, oh god, it's just my favorite thing. I've been talking a lot about this last week, about how it just goes to show you can make a lot of commentary on like what's happening in the world right now, the right way or the wrong way. Like we have The Boys, who's making their comments on like capitalism and the rise of like racism and stuff like that. But that's not the main reason they're doing the show. Like they're weaving that story into just a genuinely entertaining, what the fuck, over the top superhero show, and that's why it's so entertaining. On the other end of that spectrum, Supergirl just got cancelled on the CW because they literally lost most of their fan base by just pivoting, going, okay, what we need to do is go through all of the woke criteria of this situation. We have to tick all these boxes, and we're going to tell our viewers why they're all pieces of shit. And people watch that for sure. And they didn't. Their viewership dropped significantly, and now the show's dead. Yeah,
she was always a goody-goody, or they kept making her more and more of a goody-goody. So...
But that's okay because it suits the character, but you can go too far with that. Like when it stops being entertainment. Like I went to that and it's like, okay, what building is she going to jump over? When's she going to use her laser eyes? Like I'm there to see the superhero stuff. And yes, some character development is always wanted, but those sort of CW shows which are over the top and cheesy, I'm not there for lectures. I'm there to watch, The Flash go back in time. I'm there to watch Green Arrow pull off some insane trick with his traps and his arrows and whatever. I'm not there for that. So I've fallen off most of those CW shows pretty hard over the last couple of seasons because they've just gone real woke or real nuts. Like Legends of Tomorrow is just becoming almost like a variety show now. It's interesting.
Yeah, for me, I only keep up with The Flash now, but I just got, and The Flash is, they do it too, but I just got tired of, especially in Arrowverse, everyone that knows anyone in that show becomes a superhero or a supervillain at some point.
That's true.
So
I'm like,
true.
Jesus Christ, can I be this guy's friend, please?
Yeah.
I'm looking for a superhero gig.
It's so funny. Yeah, actually with The Flash, every time I hear like at the start of the show, it's like, oh, Iris is out of town or something, so the actress is not going to be in this one. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That character is the worst. I mean, she's a wonderful actress, don't get me wrong, but God, they've scripted her so badly.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a running joke whenever we're playing like a game at the moment, and someone just goes, all right, guys, I finished it. And I go, no, Barry, we finished it. Because it's just the dumbest fucking line in television. All right, boys, you want to get into some general nerdy news?
Let's get into it.
All right, there is no keeping a good Comic-Con down. It looks like we are absolutely going to have New York Comic-Con this year. It's going to be kicking off next week, as a matter of fact. So I dare say we're going to be inundated with news yet again next week. So there's a lot of panels lined up. We're seeing everything from Walking Dead, right through to a lot of the major Marvel panels, maybe. That one seems to be all over the place. We got a lot of trailers out this week, which we're going to talk about shortly. So they're going to be talking about Marvel's Modoc. Have you guys seen this Modoc series that they're developing?
No, I don't think so.
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it. I think I saw like the nameplate like for it.
Right. So it's an animated series, an adult animated series, I might add, and it's been created by Patton Oswalt.
Oh, I trust him. He's good.
Absolutely. And then the voice actors as well. They've got Amy Garcia, Ben Schwartz, Melissa Fumero, who's obviously from Brooklyn Nine-Nine fame. So, I mean, if they're going for like a comedic sort of like villain type thing where they make Modoc kind of like one of those really, I'm trying to think of the best description, like one of these shows where they've done this really well, kind of like an Archer type show, but from the villain's perspective. If that's what this is, I mean, I'll be so pumped.
Yeah, I'm on board for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When does it go live, or is it already live?
For the Comic-Con?
The series, yeah. Does it come out during the
I
Comic-Con?
don't know. I think they're doing a lot of news about it. So they got a panel on, I think the first day, like October the 9th. Yeah. So it's coming through Hulu. So Hulu has so much coming out. I was watching a lot of their trailers last night. It seems they're leaning really heavily into horror. Almost every single one of them was horror based, as a matter of fact.
I think at least
we'll
for the
talk about
film
that.
ones, it's because it's going to be October soon. So
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. So we might as well, since we're on that topic, talk about what we did see this week from Hulu. They've released a couple of trailers ahead of these panels. So there was Books of Blood. I don't know if you guys watched that trailer.
I did. Yeah.
What did you think?
Bloody?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Nailed it with the name.
creepy as fuck too.
Yeah. So I mean, like, the next one that we're going to talk about, Monsterland, is pretty similar, I feel like. But
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it seems like a classic horror movie. I don't know if is it from something else, and then they're just doing a movie of it? Was it like a book originally, and then they're doing a movie of it, or?
That one I haven't had time to look into. I'm not sure about that one.
I don't think it is, but my God, I mean, this is a bloody ass movie. I mean, it's definitely like a horror Halloween flick, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it looks interesting. Like, I mean, it looks like there's some sort of monster that, like, you know, absorbs the knowledge of people. And yeah, it's a really, let's say interesting. Watch the trailer is probably what I would say. If you're into horror, I think it's going to be something you're into. If you're not, I think just based on the trailer, you're probably not going to be keen at all.
Yeah. You definitely have to like horror movies to like it, for sure.
But let's talk about Monsterland. That looks really intriguing. Like, I'm not a horror guy, as you guys know. Like, I like suspense horror. I don't like, you know, here is me making wind chimes out of someone's lower intestine type, horror
House of
movies.
a
Like a lot of
Thousand
the
Corpses
Hostel.
style.
Oh, I love that movie, though. That's a classic.
Hostel was the one that I was just like, something about that got to me. Especially when that chick cut off that guy's nutsack. I was like, oh, there's something visceral about that just hit me hard.
People doing things with genitalia always makes me turned on.
Squeamish.
Turned on. Your lack of a penis arouses me. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that stuff always makes me like very nauseous. I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. But yeah, Monsterland actually does look pretty interesting. It seems more interesting than Books of Blood, because like I said, Books of Blood seemed a little more generic, but this one's actually got like a pretty cool premise to it, so I'm excited.
Well, the vibe I got from Monsterland, so it's going to be an 8-part, they called it an anthology.
Yeah,
so
I
to
saw
me,
that.
the vibe it's giving off is kind of like Black Mirror, but more horror-y.
Yeah, way more horror-y.
Yeah, but that's the vibe I get. Like, they're doing very, very sort of dark, twisty sort of thing. So I think if you like Black Mirror and horror, it seems like this is going to be one of those series where they just overlap pretty hard. So that's going to be real interesting to watch, actually. I'll probably check that one out. But the big one is, and I did not see the word Marvel once in this trailer.
I know, right? I figured they'd be waving a flag on that.
Mate, I'm surprised that like we didn't see it at the start, the middle, the end. We didn't see a cameo from someone. Like, normally they're all about this, especially because this is the first year in a decade where we have not had a Marvel movie hit the cinemas.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right?
crazy
So I
to
thought
think.
they would have been desperate to put their name on something, right? But no, didn't see it once. Hellstrom. The trailer. Like, you would not even know this was a Marvel comic if you didn't know that it was a Marvel comic.
Yeah, I went and looked it up because I was like, I feel like
Yeah.
this is a superhero, and I went and looked it up, and I was like, oh, it is indeed a superhero. So
It is, yeah.
it is
Son
from
of Satan
Marvel.
or Hellstrom, depending on which version you're looking at. Did you have a chance to check out the trailer, Parker?
Yeah, I did. I watched it, and until you said that, I had no idea it was affiliated with Marvel whatsoever.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you at all.
Hulu
Yeah.
has big connections with Marvel. They have a bunch of Hulu original series based on Marvel series, like The Runaways is another one and stuff like that. Although that series was god awful, but
That's what I've heard.
yeah, they've had like a couple. I just can't remember the other ones right now. But this one actually looks decent, so at least decent. So I'm pretty excited for it, and plus I feel like now whenever they created those other shows before, like Marvel wasn't like quite under the microscope like it is now. Like right now is its peak of popularity. Maybe not its peak of popularity. Probably Avengers Endgame was its peak of popularity. But either way, like I'm sure that they'll probably up the ante on this a little bit more now because they haven't had a new Marvel show in a while. So.
Yeah. I mean, 2021, though, like, once this pandemic's gone, we're just going to have month after month after month of superhero movie now. Like, anyone that doesn't like superhero movies is going to go, oh, God, really?
Yeah, there's that one with, I haven't heard anything about this since I saw the original trailer, like, a while ago. It was the vampire one. I know he was a Marvel superhero.
Oh,
Played by
Morbius?
Morbius, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
Where the hell did that one go? I haven't heard.
I think it's just in the Corona cycle. Like, I think it's done from memory. I don't know if that one did get affected in filming. I know it was supposed to come out late this year, but yeah, that's out. Well, that's one of those Sony ones.
That's
That's
what I
one of
was
the
just
ones
gonna
that's in
it's
the Sony
okay.
verse.
Yeah.
It's in the weird trenches of that universe. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, apparently there is cameos from like some of the Spider characters. I don't know if it was Venom, but there was things very strongly teased that you are going to see some of the people that will cross over those universes. I think it might have been Michael Keaton's in it.
Really?
As like the Vulture. Yeah, I have a feeling there's something like that in there. I remember reading. So yeah, I can't wait for that. But Piker, I really love the lore potential behind Hellstrom. So the idea is, Cliff Notes for anyone who hasn't heard of Hellstrom before, or Damon Hellstrom, aka Hellstorm, is they wanted a Satan character in the Marvel universe. So they made this comic where basically the devil comes to Earth, he tricks a chick into basically letting him impregnate her, and they basically live together for a while, and it's an interesting story. So obviously
Like that's
they
a
have
basic
this kid.
Saturday for the devil.
They go shopping
exactly.
at Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah. So they have this kid. They have another kid like 3 years later. And then, basically what ends up happening is that they try and do a ritual. He's trying to obviously do whatever he's going to do with the son of Satan. The wife interrupts it. She basically, stops it from happening, whatever it was he was trying to do. Satan goes back to hell. And then the whole effort of her having to intervene with the devil just drives her insane. So she goes to an insane asylum. The 2 kids go to separate orphanages, and then they basically grow up from there. And then eventually it all loops back around. He finds out who his real dad is, and then it leads to him basically discovering, he has powers, and goes to hell, fights the devil, all that sort of thing.
Damn.
So looking at this trailer, it looks more like, for me, I reckon they're going to make this more of a... do you remember the Keanu Reeves Constantine movie?
Loved
yeah.
the Keanu
Oh,
Reeves
man.
Constantine movie.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm getting the vibe that they're probably going to do more of a kind of like an occulty detective-y vibe, more like that Constantine, than probably leaning into the big superhero set piece of I'm going to go punch the devil in the face. That's my vibe so far. I don't know if that's the case.
That vibe. I haven't seen.
Me too.
I've been like craving it ever since I originally saw Constantine. That movie was so good. So if it's anything like that, because I do, it is definitely darker and a little more serious from what the trailer showed me at least. So
Yeah.
Well,
like I'm.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
have you guys heard about how close Constantine came to getting a sequel?
No, regale
Yeah.
me with the tale.
I only know a bit of it. I know that Keanu saw like a second script and signed on for it, and they were gonna bring in like actual Jesus and do a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't remember why it didn't happen, but it definitely got shut down. But the other funny thing about that movie, and we're talking about horror and stuff you watch in October. There's like 3 movies that like I ritually watch every October as like my Halloween fix. And Constantine is one. The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp is the other.
Oh shit, I have not seen that in a very long time.
So good.
Yeah.
And then Young Frankenstein. So like those are my
of
go-to October Halloween movies.
Young Frankenstein is one of the greatest movies in the world. It fucking changed my mind, dude.
Love that movie.
It's so good.
Anyone that wants to debate that is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because great movie.
I will say, but there might still be hope for Constantine 2 because
we can only hope.
Keanu Reeves keeps making himself funding sequels for movies, or at least kickstarting the funding for these movies. And although I'm not sure, did you guys see the new Bill and Ted?
I haven't, but I've heard really good things, surprisingly.
Okay. I saw it. I thought it honestly was bad. But it got great reviews. So I guess I was wrong. The general consensus seemed to be like it is more of what it was, which is what we need right now in cinema. So for me, it was way too cheap. Like, it was more like the second Bill and Ted than the first Bill and Ted. But yeah, it was worth a watch, I guess, like even just to support it at the very minimum. But I mean, like, if my hope is because we finally got a Matrix 4, which I want. And so now that we know that's coming, like, if that's going to be a success, I would not be surprised to see a Constantine 2, because everyone knows that any of his core fan base loves that movie, and we want another one just as much as we wanted Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, a couple weeks ago, I went back and watched the original Bill and Ted because I saw the promo for the new one.
Right.
And, man, that movie, dude, it does not hold up. That has aged really poorly. My poor wife is on the couch next to me going, "What the fuck are we watching? Like, what is this thing?"
No, it's all about Rufus, man.
Yeah. Oh, Rufus was the man.
Dude, watching the third one, it's worse. So just preparing.
I gotta check it out.
Without George Carlin's in it, I don't know if it's the same for me.
That was what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Because he was easily one of the things that tie that together. And I just love George Carlin as well.
Oh, one of my favorite comedians
funniest
ever.
humans ever. Yeah. I'm just loving this renaissance of like them trying to look back at the 80s and go, okay, what can we do to try and tap into nostalgia, but also like give it a good continuation that makes sense? Like, I don't think I could love the Cobra Kai series more than what they've done with it.
I'm fucking with you. Can we talk about that for a second? Because that is that is a great
We can
series.
always fucking talk about Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, I will hijack any fucking podcast to talk about it. In fact, this is sorry for the tangent. When so I met my wife in online dating before
it was
Tinder
cool.
was a thing, because I was traveling so much. It was just an easy way of like, all right, I'm out in the country all week. I'm going to be back on the weekend. It's just an easy way to line up dates.
Right.
One of the reasons that I clicked on my wife's profile is that she said one of her favorite movies was The Karate Kid, which I found out after dating her was a lie.
Wait,
that was some bait.
Who uses that?
She does like it now. No, she was talking about like, you know, she likes 80s movies and like mentioned a couple of them, and one of them was Karate Kid, and I was like, oh, this is worth a click, right? So I've overlooked that. I've forgiven her since, but no, we've watched it together now, so she does like it. I think she'd seen like the third one with was it Hilary Swank? Was actually the third Karate Kid,
where she was the actual Karate Kid herself.
Yeah, but she loves Cobra Kai. So yeah, let's talk about Cobra Kai anytime.
Yeah. I mean, so the new. First of all, I'm glad that it switched off of Netflix, because it was being wasted on YouTube, because there just isn't the base there for YouTube Red or whatever the fuck they call it. But so I'm so glad that it's on Netflix. Unfortunately, with that, the third season that was ready to go got pushed back a bit. So we're supposed to be getting it, I think, in 2 months or something for season 3.
I think it just got pushed to 2021. I was reading the other day.
Dang it. Well, either way, amazing show. I mean, like, I was not expecting something to be that good. I love the switch of what they did. It wasn't exactly like a clean switch. People like to say that, oh yeah, now it's, Johnny Lawrence is the good guy and then Daniel LaRusso is the bad guy. It's not quite as clear cut as that, but it is really cool to kind of see like both of them see the trajectories of their life and see them have to deal with that and interact with each other. I thought it was just really, really cool and such a good original idea. I'm really impressed by them for doing that. What about you guys?
So I have yet to watch any of it.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, really? Dude,
Sorry.
If you like the Karate Kid, you got to do it.
Fuck you. You have to.
I'm going to. I mean, you guys made me catch up on The Boys and get all ready for that. So, I mean, one
True.
thing at a freaking
yes.
time. But
True.
it is
Yeah, you have
definitely,
kid.
Yeah. It is
All right,
definitely
fair.
on the list. I want to get into it. I really like The Karate Kid, so I'm sure I'll like it. And after hearing you guys talk about it, I'm more excited than before. So, it's on the list.
I can't really blame anyone because, like I said, it was on YouTube Red, and like no one was gonna fucking watch it on YouTube Red. So yeah, but now it's on Netflix, so you have to.
Get your
Absolutely.
ass in gear.
It is interesting because when you look at the what that is, it's like, it's all about karate tournaments and that sort of stuff. You're just like, is that really going to work in 2020? And the fact that they've made it in such a way that like you're not calling out the ridiculousness of that. And I tell you what, man, I connect so hard with Johnny Lawrence of just like, part of me really wants to go back to the 80s. Do you know what I mean? Like there was just a lot of like cool stuff and vibes back then. In a lot of ways I don't. Of course, we wouldn't have the amazing video games
I don't
that
know
we do
it
now, but
so.
but in some ways, man, like a bit of time. You know what I mean?
You're going to start like hiking up the sleeves on your suit coat, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go buy a leisure suit immediately after this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. And then track down a DeLorean that's in super bad shape and then restore it.
There you go.
Now, Marvel we talked about a little bit earlier. We had 2 trailers this week. Now, I can't believe that WandaVision was technically in the last 7 days. It feels like that trailer dropped a year ago with how much news has dropped this week. What do you guys think of the WandaVision trailer? I'll start with you, Piker.
It's interesting. I still don't know what the hell kind of premise they're going for with that show. I mean, it is definitely going to be a creative journey, that's for sure. I'm just really interested to see how one episode and one kind of, I don't know if it's a timeline or experience, kind of ties into the next.
Yeah. I think the big thing for me is just like, it looks very unique. And with that, like, comes the possibility of it being amazing or the possibility of it being absolutely terrible. Because it does seem like they're trying to string along several different types of shows to kind of show this. I mean, I didn't really know exactly what's going on. Now I have a little bit more of an inkling thanks to Chew the other day, explained a little bit more of it. But, like, depending on how long they carry on these facades of, like, these different types of shows, it could be really, really cool if they do it right. So I'm looking forward to it. It looks absolutely bonkers from the trailer, which I think is why I like it so much, because you can't quite put a finger on anything that's going on. But yeah, that's my sense. Chew, I don't know if you want to tell them about what you know, because it's just speculation at this point, so I don't see there being harm in it.
It is, but it makes sense, and they've also done a very cheeky nod to this in that trailer. This was something that every one of these trailers, like the super nerds that put all of us to shame that are doing the God's work out there, have always like picked apart every Easter egg from every trailer. So like, if you don't want to know what this could be, and look, and it could be, like, we don't really know 100% of what this is or not. So yeah, probably skip forward a couple minutes if you don't want to hear potential spoilers for this. But the wine glass, or the wine bottle that they're pouring from in the middle of the trailer, it has a name on it. And that name is very heavily associated with a very, very popular storyline in Marvel history, which was called the House of M, where basically Scarlet Witch goes into a psychotic state. She has a full-on breakdown. And then what ends up happening is that because of the sheer scale of her power, she is literally like creating her own realities and like rewriting them. So there's a lot of speculation based on that. So the House of M storyline featured very heavily around the mutants. Right? So there's now speculation of, is she going to rewrite reality? And that is how we actually get the X-Men into the MCU.
That is one hell of an amazing segue if they do. Like,
If they go from like their own platform and then just rewrite the universe from a subscription-based TV show, that's a ballsy call if they do it, because it makes it, you have to watch this. Like, it's not optional. If you're an MCU fan, you're going to watch all the movies, you need to sub at least 1 month and watch this whole thing.
Yeah, but I mean, that might be exactly what they want. I mean, does Disney have that big of a dick, I guess, is the question to throw on the table. Like, I'm not sure, but I think that they probably do.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them in the era of COVID and no one going to the movie theater.
Yeah, they make some pretty ballsy plays as it is, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But either way, like, it's a cool way to do it, to like introduce, considering what's already been done with, you know, the Mutant franchise and everything like that to this point. Like, it would be a cool way to introduce it into the Marvel, into the, you know, the Disney Marvel side of it.
Yeah, or at the very least, I think it'll open up the multiverse, because we already know that the title of the next Doctor Strange movie literally is the Multiverse of Madness, I think it is, or Madness Multiverse, something like that. And we know that Scarlet Witch is going to feature very heavily in that. That apparently Doctor Strange is going to teach her a little bit about some of her powers, or they discover that as they go. So it wouldn't surprise me that, like, whatever happens to her, that she might be getting so out of control that perhaps this series ends with Doctor Strange stepping in, saying, "Hey, look, we need to talk about what you're doing." You know, so there's so much potential now that there's some of these little nods that the House of M may be here. And I think it makes sense. Like, I mean, that would bring the little thread that goes between all this craziness of, like, on the set of The Brady's or on the set of I Dream of Jeannie, you know? I think that her broken mind with Vision being dead, and then what are they going to do with Vision? I mean, I know Hebrew is especially excited about him coming back.
Oh,
Get rid of him.
What are they
Perfect
going to do with
opportunity to
Vision?
get rid of him. Look, all I'm going to say is that, like, I think that, you know, Paul Bettany is an amazing actor. I really love what he did, you know, outside of this movie. I think he just got boned on the script and, like, what they did for that character. If they can redeem him in this show, great. I don't think that they'll be able to, because it's an issue that they have with the character, and that's going to bring in a whole bunch of consistency issues to this point. So we'll see. But there is a chance that I might like Vision again because of this show. We'll have to see. But it's also a good opportunity to write him out forever. So I'm not discouraged.
There's a chance.
I don't know it's going to go that way. So, look, I'm probably more excited about that show now that there's this possible thread there. I mean, it could literally be them just messing with all of us, which wouldn't surprise me at all.
True.
I mean, they did it with the last Spider-Man. Like, they literally painted Mysterio in a way that obviously we all bought it hook, line, and sinker. That's like, oh, okay, multiverse is here. Great.
Yeah.
This is how we get X-Men back. It's like, nope, all bullshit. So we'll have to wait and see. Another kick in the nuts for the 2020 death toll is Black Widow. So she's actually been killed off twice in 12 months now. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that movie this year. Black Widow is being delayed until 2021. So there's a lot of DC things supposed to be coming out soon as well, which I think they're going to have to get pushed. Like Wonder Woman 84 has already been pushed a couple of times. That's supposed to come out, I think, October. There's no way that's going to happen now.
I don't think they can afford bad showings after, you know, their most recent movies, honestly. Like, I think they're going to have like, really good openings on them to keep this storybook open for them in DC, because it's been, for the past, like, 3 or 4 have been absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Minus Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman has been the only one that's been good. Minus the ending of Wonder Woman, of course.
Aquaman was pretty good. I think Aquaman was a real surprise.
Aquaman was not, I didn't think it was great, but I did at least get, like, good reviews.
I thought,
like, I think it got in, like, the 70s or something.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I couldn't get over the costumes for, like, the Aqua people.
Black Manta.
They look so stupid, and it kind of killed it for me.
Yeah. I put it at goodish on my list.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very low bar. It has to be better than, right?
Yeah. Pika's in it for the costumes from now on.
Absolutely.
He's going to be the go-to costume guy.
He's all about the looks. He's a graphic designer. He looks through a different lens.
That's true,
yeah.
Your eyes just go right to it.
I am who I am.
100%. That's it. Well, I mean, in saying that, though, as someone who is obsessed with hair physics, you must have been impressed with Aquaman. They spend some time on hair physics.
Yeah.
I will give it up for that. They nailed hair physics and it being underwater, which is no easy task.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It helped the immersion a bit. Helped me believe them. Hair physics are the worst, but they did it right.
They did. All right, last piece of Marvel news actually, it's not Marvel news. I lied to you. It's DC news is what it is. We have already got the first Suicide Squad spinoff has been announced. So John Cena's character, which is called Peacemaker, which both of them have basically described as a super douchey version of Captain America, is going to get his own series. And it's going to be directed and written by James Gunn.
I am surprised,
Yes.
but
So am
very excited.
Right?
Anything that he makes is gold, honestly. That's why it was so funny
Yeah.
whenever he like got kicked out of Disney, because literally anyone was like, we'll let you do anything you
I
want
know.
if you come and work for us.
Yeah, don't let these woke bitches. We got you, son.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, like him agreeing to that, he must have really loved the character in his movie. And John Cena, I bet that he was sold on John Cena too, because John Cena is honestly like he's a really uniquely funny and interesting actor. Like he's a genuinely good guy. He does like a lot of good shit. Like a lot of volunteering and stuff like that, and showing up to like cancer patients' bedside and stuff like that. So he's a good dude. He's known to be a good dude, but he's also like really funny. I'm not sure if you've seen him in any of his more comedic roles, but he fucking kills it. He slays.
Dude, have you seen the outtakes on what was that one he did with Amy Schumer? What was that called?
Yeah, I forgot the name of that.
Yeah, it's very forgettable because it's Amy Schumer. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was hilarious. Like the fact that he was
100%.
cracking up a comedian. Like, the stuff where he was like saying random stuff in Chinese while they're banging. And he's
Yeah.
like, do you know what that means? And then like, oh, it was just so good.
Exactly.
So yeah, I've become a big fan of him. And the best thing about him transitioning into movies is I don't have to watch him wrestle anymore.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think he's
character's
definitely
terrible.
made the right choice. Like he was very much he's this generation's Hulk Hogan. The guy really can't wrestle to the standard of everyone else, but his personality was kind of like enough to carry it. But like Hulk Hogan, wrestling fans just hate the guy. Hate his wrestling character because it's like he's gonna win because he's the good guy and WWE have contracts.
Right. Yeah. And I think there was also another role that he did where he was a drug dealer. I forgot. It was in a very terrible movie, but his character in it was honestly the only good part.
Okay.
Oh, it was like I think it was honestly called like Rooster or Cock or something. I'm not. It was
Oh, wasn't it Cock Blockers?
Cockblockers. Yes, I knew.
Was
it
he
something
drug
like-
dealer? I still haven't seen that.
He was
yeah,
the drug
yeah.
dealer. Terrible
You're
movie,
right.
but him as a
because
drug
in
dealer
America
was
they're
fucking
like, well, we
hilarious.
can't say cock, so we'll just put up a picture of a rooster.
Yeah.
Like the PG culture over there is so funny.
Yeah, but so him as a drug dealer in there was honestly that was really funny. He was the only good part of that movie. So yeah, there's definitely good roles that he did that show his acting abilities. So yeah, I'm interested to see this. It's going to be.
But if
a
you were
really
a casting
interesting role.
director and you put a call out saying, all right, so here's the synopsis. I need someone that is basically a douchey Captain America. And then John Cena walks in, you're just like, all right, stop the process, guys. We have who we
have
need.
him.
Do you know what I mean? Like he can play
Yeah.
he can play that guy
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, he just
So
looks. Like,
I'm excited.
Yeah, he looks like he's been playing that guy his entire life. That's what he looks
Yeah.
like. Yeah. I'm
100%.
excited for it, and it's going to be good if James Gunn's doing it. So yeah, it's going to be, and it's going to be on HBO Max, which is sick because HBO Max has so much good shit on it now. So this will be pretty cool.
Yeah, call it to the Snyder Cut. All right, Piker, are you a fan of Lord of the Rings?
So I didn't read the books whenever I was younger. I did see the movies and I enjoyed them. I would not say that I was a Lord of the Rings super fan or anything like that. But I do respect what he did from a storytelling and a world creating concept.
What about you, Hebrew?
Yeah. I read the books and I watched the movies. I love the series.
Heck yes. So we already know that Amazon has a Lord of the Rings series in production. They have not only still got that in production at the moment, they had some delays to filming with Corona. They have been down in New Zealand filming that. Before they even finish filming the first season, they've already announced second season is greenlit. And Amazon has budgeted for up to 5 seasons already.
What?
That is literally I don't know what to say to that because it's so unheard of.
Just wait. Do you want to know how much money they put aside for this little project?
Tell me.
$1 billion Bezos dollars.
Wow.
$1 billion is what they're prepared to spend on this for 5 seasons.
It's
crazy.
so surprised. I'm like very worried. It makes me nervous, but it's also very exciting because like I want more Lord of the Rings in my life. And so the fact that this series, ever since the series was announced, it was super exciting. The fact that they have that much confidence in it, I'm not sure if they've like they just like the idea of it so much that they put that much money in it, or if they saw like what will be mostly the finished product of the first season and they were like, this is so amazing, now we're going to put in the money. So like, I'm not sure which one it is, but that is really, really cool and potentially good news if it actually is a good series. Who's directing it? Do we know? I suppose we do know. But like,
good question.
I'm curious what his acting or what his like, previous jobs have been. If there's anything, noteworthy there, because I feel like
Let's check.
You have to have a lot of confidence in the directors and the writers particularly. I mean, the director and the writer particularly on this, because that's just so crazy. It's literally still blowing my mind. I'm still processing the fact that they greenlit it for basically 5 seasons already. That is astounding.
Yeah.
So it looks like they might have multiple directors, because a lot of TV shows do that.
Right, yeah.
The first 2 episodes at least look like they'll be directed by J.A. Bayona, who did Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
That's not good.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
And all
we'll see
optimism
about that.
fades rapidly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering if Amazon here is trying to sort of build an interactive universe off the back of this, because we do know that they have in development at Amazon the Lord of the Rings MMO as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what was that TV series on Sci-Fi that also had the game crossover? Defiance. Did you guys ever watch Defiance?
Mm-mm.
No.
No? I really enjoyed that series. It was basically like Aliens came, there was a war, and at the end of it, basically, they blew up so much stuff in the sky that no one can really leave Earth's orbit now, so they're all kind of stuck there in like this tenuous sort of truce. Like, it's a really cool, interesting world. The result of like things falling out of the sky have like corrupted, and there's like, beasts and shit on Earth now.
Right.
But anyway, the reason I bring it up is that Defiance had like, they'd have the TV show, but then they put in what there was going to be like an MMO alongside it. And what would happen is there'd be patches of content after the TV series episodes would air. So you would basically then see those events kind of weaving into the game itself, which was a really, really cool idea. Mm-hmm. Executed horribly. The game wasn't that great. The TV series eventually got cancelled. But I'm wondering if Bezos is like, I'm going to build this world that people are going to want to live in, both on TV and in game.
Well, I mean, considering his competitors all kind of have something like that in the works currently, and he kind of needs one. So maybe this is where he's going to stake his claim in the Lord of the Rings universe. Yeah, I mean, if he kills it on the video game, especially, that'll be exciting. But it's just so tricky because people are super critical whenever it comes to Lord of the Rings, particularly because it's such a beloved novel, or a series of novels. So like, yeah, it's you got to be so confident in what you're doing with this one. So that's why it's just so shocking for so many reasons. I'm excited though. I certainly like the idea of it. And I always thought that a series would be better anyways, for obvious reasons. Things that have like a lot of plot points in them can never be done well in movies, or well enough at least in movies. So a series, granted, I know that this is set before, this isn't rehashing everything that's already happened, but yeah. Is it confirmed 100% that it is set before?
Yeah, it is, because one of the castings that we do know, because they've done side-by-sides, is that it does have young Galadriel. So she is in it. Now, the fact that she's young, I think, sets the timing a little bit, because we know that elves live for an incredibly long time. Yeah. So if they have her as like a teenager-type actress, or in her 20s, I think that's probably going to say it's going to be quite a ways before. So that's probably going to say it's going to be in between Silmarillion. I don't think they're going to go that far back, because that's obviously predates characters like her, and then before The Hobbit. So somewhere in that middle ground.
That gives them a lot more, like, malleability if they go back that far. So that's probably a good idea. And just to distance it from the things that we already know and give it, a little bit more of its own identity. So, yeah, I think I certainly hope that's a good idea. I mean, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I hope that they execute it well. There we go. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. They've been pretty tight-lipped about this whole thing, so that's crazy to me.
I do love the fact they've gone to New Zealand, though, to film the rest of it. Like, that sort of continuity of the world, I think, is pretty exciting to me.
They kind of have to, right? Like, you can't just...
It's the only place left.
Yeah.
Well, I think every movie is going to be made in New Zealand post-corona.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
the way it's going.
Until it gets lit on fire, that's the only place where we can film. Jesus.
Right. All right, boys. Should we get into our gaming news?
Games.
Do it.
Oh my god, so fucking many games. I'm
know.
so excited. But so, like, we picked arguably the best and worst time to do a podcast. Because, like, it's the best time because there's just amazing stuff happening. But the worst time is just like, oh my god, we're going to be doing like 3 hours on this and like 5 hours for an edit. Oh my god.
This is an avalanche of gaming content right here.
It's so good. Yeah. That's it. The best part about closing out 2020. So, one game that really fell off my radar, and I forgot all about it until I saw that Holiday 2020 tag is still on it. Did you guys follow Outriders at all from Square Enix?
I actually had followed it a little bit. I'll let Pika give his opinion on it first, but let's just say I'm very interested. Have you seen it yet, Pika?
So I saw the trailer. I feel like every other game we talk about is a Square Enix game right now. Like they're putting out
It 100%
so
is.
many
It
freaking
100%
titles.
is.
Like
I know.
I can't even keep up with it. It's insane. The trailer looked really interesting. I'm not quite sure what type of game this is or kind of what they're going for. But the sort of the artistic styling of the trailer was really interesting. And it looked like some of the powers that you end up getting is really, fresh. So I'm anxious to hear more about this game, and if you guys have a little bit more knowledge on kind of the background and what's coming with it, I can't wait to hear about it.
I think you might as well just basically give this game the title of, for legal reasons, it's definitely not Mass Effect. Like, that's literally what it looks like to me. It is 100% a Mass Effect clone, and if I'm reading the vibes right of this game, it's the Mass Effect that we wanted and did not get with Andromeda. Are you getting that vibe, Hebrew?
I definitely do. I see giant aspects of Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Yes, but I also do see giant aspects of Destiny, especially whenever it comes to powers, and also Gears of War, because it's very bloody. And so I'm definitely getting that vibe as well. It's meant to be really like, just fucking dirty ass combat, which is great.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like I'm really excited for it, and the fact that they're really leaning into abilities even more so than just like gunplay. Gunplay is great, but the fact that you're going to be able to like straight up spam abilities on this kind of game is really cool, and I like the fact that these developers are leaning into that, because usually that's just more of like an occasional substitute for gunplay. But in this one, it feels like that is like supposed to be like a main thing with it. So I'm really excited. I wish it had more classes, because the current classes lineups feels like there could be more, but that's just because there is more inevitably in the pipeline that they're going to release later on. But we finally get a Technomancer, which is cool. So there's lots of...
As someone who played the game Technomancer, it's not guaranteed to be cool.
Really? So there are exceptions to that rule.
That game was fucking terrible. Yeah.
Well, in this one, it actually looks pretty decent. So let's hope there might still be hope. But yeah, like I'm definitely excited for it. I've been watching it for a while. I definitely get more Destiny vibes than I do Mass Effect vibes, but it certainly does have a lot of Mass Effect. Like, you can't watch the trailer and not think of either of those games, I'd say.
Yeah, and the UI especially, like just the way that the abilities look, there's something about the graphics as well that like just screams Mass Effect to me, especially Mass Effect 3, which is very much not a bad thing. I think that comparison, I'm really trying to flatter it, because despite the ending, I really, really liked Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3. So yeah, I think if that interests you, like as you say, probably it is going to be a 4-player co-op as well. So you're probably right, it's going to be more Destiny than it is Mass Effect. So yeah, keep an eye for that one, folks. Whether they stick to Holiday 2020 release, I don't know, considering that we're almost in Holiday 2020.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought we would have heard more about this by now, but who knows? I mean, we've got Tokyo Game Show on at the moment. We have a couple little cons over the next couple of weeks. maybe it'll just be one of those surprise ones that comes out. I mean, didn't Fallout 4, for example, I know this is a random tangent, but I think that was like announced and out inside like 2 months.
Was it? Like, I never played the Fallout game, so I haven't kept up with Fallout at all. I didn't even know there was a Fallout 4 coming.
Right. No, Fallout 4, the one that was already out, the one from a couple of years back.
I didn't even know that was already out.
Oh, really?
That tells you, I've literally, like, we talked about this, I think, last show, but, like, I've never played it in the Fallout series, so, yeah.
I gotcha. So that looks interesting. Now, you, Hebrew, managed to get your hands on an Xbox pre-order. You have the luck of your friend Irish. Because you've got a PS5 and an Xbox pre-order, you son of a bitch.
That's right. Now, it wasn't the Xbox that I wanted. I wanted the Xbox with the Game Pass thing, with the payment plan and all that kind of stuff. Okay. But that wasn't... I actually don't even know if that really worked anywhere. I was on there ready to go on Microsoft and GameStop and Best Buy and Walmart and Target. I was prepped. Jesus. And I had me, my dad, and my mom sitting at a computer. Oh my God. There was no way I was not walking out.
Now, like, as the time was clicking down, were you like walking in front of them, giving like a Braveheart style inspiration speech?
It went down exactly like that.
Sweet.
But yeah, no, it was tense because, like, I was thinking, they had said, they were like, this is going to be nothing like the PlayStation launch, the mishaps. And it still wasn't as bad because, like, the biggest problem with the PlayStation one was, or one of the two biggest problems with the PlayStation one was the timing was off on everything. This one, they actually did, for the most part, start correctly. Best Buy started way later for some reason, but the timing at least started right. But the second the clock turned, everything crashed everywhere. So it was this very much the same in that regard. But I was trying to find, like, on the Microsoft Store, there wasn't even an option for the Game Pass version, even though, like, they had prompted you with, like, the option of doing that on the screen right before. But whenever you were going through, like, how it worked in the Microsoft Store is that you went through in this configuration of, like, configure your Xbox X. And, it took forever to finally get through and put it in your cart and everything like that. But it wasn't even an option there. So I'm not sure what happened there on Microsoft. On Best Buy, it was there, like, I was there the second it started. And it was instantly, it had, like, a section for that, but it was instantly gone. You could still grab an Xbox, but not one of those. And I'm saying, like, it was, there was no time in between. So I feel like they didn't even get any. Mm-hmm. And then it was the same way with GameStop. GameStop was out already of that one, but they had, the Xbox X's and basically everywhere. So, like, I don't know if everyone wanted that one so bad that it was really just gone in, like, milliseconds, which I don't even see how it's possible, or there was all just kind of, like, confusion and most people didn't get it and it was just kind of a screw up of some kind. So I don't know what the situation is there. Either way, I walked away with an Xbox X, but it was just the Xbox X solo. So the net difference is only $50 in the long term. So I'm not, like, losing out on too much money. But yeah, point is that I got one. I survived it.
So data is starting to come out from the PS5 launch and the Xbox launch. And you said that it'd be impossible for some of those to go in milliseconds. Turns out it's not impossible. Bots. Yeah, that's it. It had to be bots. People have been setting up bots to just go out. It tends to be a lot of them we've heard from, like, Indian links, where basically they have these bots set up with the idea that they're going to buy a ton of these and they're going to sell them back to you at, like, 5 times the price. Very disappointing. But that unfortunately happens with pretty much anything that is cool and limited release because, capitalism. Victories.
Capitalism.
Now, I couldn't help but get so... I find this amusing, but I'm also, like, I feel really bad at the same time that, like, all these mums and dads that, like, just don't know gaming, they go, oh, man, little Johnny, all he's going to want for Christmas, like, if I can get him this Xbox, he's going to freak out. He's going to be so happy. I'm going to be mum and dad of the year. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to go on. I'm going to order them this fancy new Xbox, and away we go. On Amazon, they reported on the day of the Xbox launch... a 431% increase in purchases for the Xbox One X.
Oh God.
As in people fucked up and they've
Mistakes.
bought the wrong one.
Mistakes were
Is the
made.
assumption, yeah. So they were, because I looked through it, I'm like, well, maybe like you just saw all these retailers just discounting the shit out of the Xbox One X, and maybe people were picking it up of like, well, you know, I've got Game Pass. A lot of these games, you know, I can still play on Xbox for a couple of years. Maybe this is just a better choice for me right now because I can't afford the big one and I don't really want the new one yet. But it does seem like, unfortunately, yeah, given the price that some people have paid for these things, it looks like some people have made a bit of a mistake.
That is
That just hurts.
terrible. Yeah.
It's such a hard... this used to be like, they used to make fun of it, like in 80s and 90s movies, where they're all like, oh, Johnny, I got you that video game console you want. You got me the Nintendo? No, I got you the bottom basement bargain simulator 2018. You know, like really like cheesy knockoffs, and the kid's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
So... It's been a long time since I've heard a story like this, but yeah, those poor people. There was one cheeky fuck that just literally had in the description, it was just like, this is just the box of the Xbox. If you are dumb enough to buy this, you're dumb enough to buy this. Like it literally had like that in the description. So I don't know if he sold any of those, but it would be hilarious if he did.
Yeah, there's always a couple of those that are like very clearly pointing it out in the description that it's not the real Xbox X or the PlayStation 5. And then people just buy it anyways because they're not paying attention. But
well, it's because they're relying on that scramble. Like I need to buy it. Oh, there's one. Go. Yeah.
It is crazy that, I mean, like, even for the PS5, like, I started late on the PS5, but I was able to still get one. Like, I think because it launched early, like, I was able to get it like an hour after the order started.
Okay. So that was one of the big things about PS5, and it happened with a couple of places during Xbox as well, is that there was quite a few retailers that their infrastructure was just not ready at kickoff. So in some cases, like they weren't up for like half an hour or even a couple of hours in some cases, that people were literally sitting there refreshing for ages. So you might have actually logged on at the time where everyone had like just started to give up and they went live at the same time. Like you might have just hit that perfect storm.
That's exactly what happened with me, because I was trying to go through on Best Buy and stuff like that because everywhere else said it was out. I couldn't get it. And then like a half an hour, no, not even half an hour, I think it was like an hour later actually, I went back on to Best Buy for shits and giggles and I managed to get one. And I was like, what? And so I got, but I am just like so surprised. Like there must have been just an infinity amount of bots getting those all access pass ones, because it was gone literally so quick before the site could even react. It was nuts. So yeah, just crazy stuff. But you're not missing out. Honestly, you're not missing out on too much. So because, you know, like we talked about a couple times, like out of all times that a new console, you know, season is coming, like this one's probably the best time to miss out on the console immediately, because so many things are pushed back.
Now, last thing tied to the Xbox is that we have seen a lot of news now that some of the loaded files, because these games are obviously so intense with graphics and performance, and obviously people try and take advantage of the hardware, some of the file size of these games are massive. And obviously it comes with a 1 terabyte hard drive as standard in the X. Obviously the S has half that. So already we're seeing the SSD plug-in so you can expand your storage space in the Xbox. For the 1 terabyte, now it's for Seagate, who's a great brand of SSDs, and it's one of the NVMe hard drives, which are very, very good. But because they are very, very good, if you want to double your storage space, if you want another 1 terabyte for that Xbox, that bad boy is going for $220 US.
That is absurd.
It really is.
Like you're halfway to the price of the actual console with just a memory card. Jesus Christ, that's insane to me. How big are these files? Do you know? Like how big are one of these files for a game? Let's say.
So most of them are like no less than like 150 gig.
Fuck me. That is hefty.
Yeah, I think we're gonna feel some of the problems of early PS4. We're just like, I haven't finished Assassin's Creed, but like Destiny 5's coming out. I need to something's gonna go, man. You know, I think we're gonna get that a little bit with PS5 and Xbox.
Yeah, I have the original PS4, so I have to juggle the memory as is.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I'll have to be doing that again. I'm not gonna buy a $220 memory card. Like, no, there's no way.
Now, speaking of games that give me hope, No Man's Sky The little engine that could. The one went from arguably the worst release probably in recent history to now a game that's very well celebrated and very, very, like it's had an uptick of about 1 million players in the last month because of Game Pass, because it's included there now. So they had their 3.0 or their Origins update. So this is a free-to-play expansion for that. They are adding in all sorts of new worlds, all sorts of new flora and fauna. So if you're someone that's played that game for a long time, they said after a while, like all the planets start to get a little bit samey. So they're saying now that there's going to be such diversity of wildlife and things like that when you go to new planets now, you're going to see a lot of different things. Mountains and oceans can now be kilometers high or kilometers deep. So, like, there's some really, really cool things. And, like, obviously looking at some of the multiplayer, it's cross-platform now. There's VR support. Like, there's so much about this that I'm like, you know what? When I get downtime over Christmas, I'm going to pop back in and check in on No Man's Sky because it's been a minute.
Yeah, that's actually really surprising and good. Like, it's definitely a game that I've rooted for because I think part of the problem was with the original game, like, it was hyped up by the people so much that I think, like, it impossible standards were set, and it wasn't really as much by the developers as much as the people. So yeah, I felt bad for it, but they really did, like, do a total turnaround on this because it was not nearly what people thought it was going to be on launch. It was apparently very disappointing. I didn't end up actually playing it, but and I've only heard great things since about them giving constant updates, constant good quality stuff. So I'm glad that this is coming out. After hearing you talk a little bit about what's coming with this update, I think I might have to pick it up myself because it does sound pretty good.
Well, there's cross-platform support, so maybe you and I should VR this bitch and see how it runs.
Oh, yeah, it's another VR option for us.
Yeah. Ooh. I've heard mixed things about the VR, but I've heard more good than bad.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and I've heard if we want to have the No Man's Sky experience, but where we want to shit ourselves, that Subnautica is the way to go.
Okay, let's shit ourselves together.
Yeah. So exploratory game, but you're underwater, and there's like giant sea creatures that will eat you, and you have to deal with that, like feeling like you're floating in the ocean, and you have like you can swim at normal man speed, versus giant creature with massive teeth that will destroy you.
So it's like the Naboo episode 1 situation with Jar Jar Binks.
God, let's hope not.
Kinda, yeah. Except with way less Jar Jar Binks, yeah.
That was my Star Wars movie, people. Fuck both of you guys.
That was my Star Wars movie. So I hope you've enjoyed Hebrew Hammer's time on the podcast, guys.
Yeah, he's dead to us forever.
It gave you Darth Maul. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Oh my god. Yeah. It did give us Darth Maul.
And he's Australian, isn't he? He's Australian.
Ray Parker? No, he's American or Canadian.
No. All right. I'm going to have to look this up silently in the background.
He goes to cons all the time and like takes like lightsabers off of kids and goes, watch this kid. Like spins around and shit. They go, wow. I don't know who you are, but thanks, mister. Yeah, exactly.
We gave you the song, The Clash of Fates, dude. Like, that is the song. That is the Star Wars song, dude.
Yeah, I can listen to that without having to watch Jar Jar Binks for a second. That's the greatest thing about it. All right, bad news for you and I, Mike. Baldur's Gate delayed a week.
Yeah, I saw that.
For early access, but good. Very clever little press release, too. They had like a rhyming poem on their Twitter explaining why it was delayed by a week. And it was adorable enough that most people are like, look, we get it. We know Larian Studios. We know that if they're delaying it, they're doing it for a reason. They're not happy with it. And I mean, Larian Studios has got a great reputation of what they've done. The first 4 Twitter comments, I was like, it's the kind of nerds that really make my face sad. They're all like, this is unacceptable. You guys have not given us enough notice. If you knew this was going to happen, you should have done it. Just really ripping into them. Like, I've seen people rage less when you fuck their girlfriend. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy.
Well, for some people, this is their girlfriend. So
yeah. Well, yeah, it was really disappointing because especially for this developer. I mean, they're not like your standard AAA company. Like they're doing it for the love of the game. You can feel it in their games, man. So yeah, like if it was EA, I'd be like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you can't expect like AAA responses, or I suppose timelines for these kind of games.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Now, I know that Hebrew definitely would have known about these, but did you ever play any of the Nier games, Piker? N-I-E-R?
No, I haven't.
Did you play them? Or you'd know of that universe, I imagine, Hebrew?
Mm-mm.
True. It's super anime-ish. Like the Nier Automata was one of the big titles from PS4. Like a really, really, really well-loved series for people, very much influenced by like the cyborgy anime kind of games or shows.
So for me, I actually particularly don't like cyberpunk. I am still going to play Cyberpunk 2077 BT dubs, but that's not typically my style of anime. I'm very much the Naruto style of anime, where I like old school swords, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Swords and magic. Yeah.
So, Nier Replicant is basically going to be a remake of the original Nier. This was announced at the Tokyo Game Show. So we do apologize, guys. We're filming this in the first couple of hours of the Tokyo Game Show. Mm-hmm. So we only have 3 news items so far. We know there's going to be a lot of this in next week's show. So it looks like they're going to be remaking the original. That looks pretty great. They're doing a mobile game as well. It looks very different to the main series. But yeah, Nier Reincarnation is going to be hitting mobile phone games in the West. They've had different versions in a lot of Asian countries for a little while now, but we're just waiting to see the Western version. Reviews, because it's not really authentic to the Nier experience, there's a lot of people kind of, I don't know about this for the mobile version, but we'll see. And I just saw a trailer for Medium. Because it only just happened. I don't suppose you guys have had a chance to watch that trailer?
I have not.
No, me neither.
Very creepy, very Silent Hill kind of vibes was what I would describe it. And they're calling it a psychological horror game. So I'm imagining it's going to be more like Hellblade, like that Sensuous type thing. But yeah, the trailer looks really good.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It actually looks really good.
Isn't that just the name of 2020? Like a psychological horror game?
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say Medium feels like it's not far enough in one direction or another to describe 2020. But now he said psychological horror, it makes sense. Yeah, man. So it looks all right. So I know that there's a lot of stuff like Capcom's got their display. We're hoping to see some gameplay from Resident Evil 8. Everyone's hoping they're going to be showcasing that during the Tokyo Game Show. So me especially, I'm going to be refreshing that when I wake up tomorrow. 100%.
I was just thinking with 2020, after that comment, like I feel like, you know, if simulation theory is true, from like Elon Musk, this is all simulation. I feel like whoever was originally playing us went to go to the bathroom, and his little brother just got on and was like, "Fuck all of this shit," slamming on the keyboard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just went to the character creation screen, just respect everyone to full blown nuts. Yeah,
exactly. But no, I'm looking at Medium right now, and it actually does look like a very solid, interesting looking game. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped with that. Sorry, Baika, what were you gonna say?
No, the thought just occurred to me, like, in years past, when you've had like big tragedies, it's always kind of influenced media, and especially movies, in like the immediate aftermath thereof. So like after a big tragedy, you have a lot of like positive and spirit uplifting movies. I wonder what we're gonna see as a result of the pandemic worldwide, and in gaming especially. Are we such sadists that we're gonna like descend more into that post-apocalyptic living in our fears sort of gaming style, or is it going to be more I don't know, like fun and lightheartedness games? It's just going to be interesting to see what the results kind of are across media going forward.
Yeah, it'll probably be a dark time in cinema, because it will probably be a whole bunch of people, probably like years after, though. Like I feel like there's going to be like a brief period of time where no one's going to really talk about it too much, but then there's going to be like reimaginings of it or tales of it like depicted in China and stuff like that. Like I could see something like that happening for sure.
Did we talk about that on the podcast? Or was that one of our off-air chats that we were joking around about the fact that like every villain in every movie for the next decade is going to be Chinese now?
I don't even remember when we did talk about that. Maybe I wasn't with you.
Oh, I've 100% had this chat in the last week.
Did.
It might have been like while I was playing with people in Avengers. I've been talking a lot of shit in there recently.
I must have just been ignoring you.
Yeah, it just feels like they're going to be the Germans of the 2020s. I feel.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's
way
right.
it's
Yeah,
shaping
you
up.
did say that.
Yeah.
Germans always catch my ear. It's ingrained
Right.
into me.
I wonder why.
But yeah,
All
you're
right.
right.
Now, if you are under the age of 14, this is a PSA for you. First of all, ask your parents for permission to listen to this trash. But number two, if you update iOS 14 on your iPhone, your Fortnite might go bye-bye. So, yeah, there's that for people who do that. Now, this was news that I was really excited about. A lot of the developers that were in Blizzard in their heyday, like before they've gone into whatever they are now, a lot of those guys have left and they're now re-coming back together, including some like Westwood guys who worked on Command & Conquer and whatnot, to form Dreamhaven Studios. I am hoping, and we've seen a few of these cases now where like a lot of the people that made some of the games that we all love, and like a lot of that nostalgia is what AAA companies basically prey on now. I'm hoping that this is the birth of something new where they go back to their roots and just say, we just want to make good games. Like Obsidian Studios. Obsidian Studios retained a lot of the like old people that made that company and the games that they had so loved. And they've made some amazing games, like, Outer Worlds. Obviously, they did the Fallout New Vegas. We're going to talk about that very shortly as well. But yeah, I'm hoping that this Dreamhaven Studios is going to be just that glimmer of hope of, okay, we've learned all the corporate bullshit that went wrong when we sold out to, Blizzard in its current form with Activision. Let's go back to doing what we did best. Let's make the games that are good enough and they're ready when they're ready. That kind of attitude that made Blizzard just the titan and the most loved for such a long time of all gamers. So I'm hoping this is a glimmer of hope in that space.
Yeah, Blizzard really kind of lost its magic a few years back now. And so, the idea of a group of ex-Blizzard employees from that golden era of Blizzard is pretty exciting. I'm not sure what kind of game they're going to be planning on doing, but I would love to see something more akin to the older Blizzard stuff. That would be really cool. Oh my god, if we get it, like, give me a Diablo 2, even just like a copy of Diablo 2, like an updated copy of Diablo 2. I'll play it all goddamn day. Just give me something like that.
Now, Piker, there might have been just a little bit of news regarding Microsoft this week.
I think I heard a little something about that, a couple minor news items here and there.
Have you played many of the Bethesda games?
I've played Fallout. What else have I played from them? I think that's the main one, probably that I know the best.
Okay. So what I thought I'd do, because I don't have enough on my plate apparently, I decided to go through and get a list of all the IPs that Microsoft now has as first party, including all the games that they've just purchased under ZeniMax. And there is a lot.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot to love about this. So Microsoft buying them, like, I'm surprised we haven't heard the word monopoly come out. Like, it's getting to that point now. And in fact, coming into Tokyo Game Show, people were freaking out because, like, word was leaking that Microsoft had made another acquisition. Everyone was like, fuck, who is it now? And like, word was it was going to be Sega or something. So yeah, that's all been put aside now. But let's talk about what they've got in total now, right? So Microsoft owns 343 Industries. So they have the Halo games in obviously in post Bungie world.
Right.
Alpha Dog Studios. They had Monstrosity and Wraithborn. They weren't too big. Arcane Studios. Now this is a big one for three reasons. We talked about the Dishonored series last week.
Yes.
They've got that now. They own that.
Ooh.
Did you guys play Prey? The one that came out a couple of years ago?
I played Prey.
Did you play that, Piker?
No, I didn't.
Dude, do me a favor. If you're going to play one game over the next couple of months as like a little side project, play that. That's a really good game.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's dark. It's good.
Yeah,
Excellent.
it's kind of, it's horror-y, but not horror-y. It's got those same vibes as that Control game I was playing in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Without giving spoilers for Piker, what do you think of the ending of that, Hebrew?
I liked it.
Actually, there was multiple endings, wasn't there? That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have any issues with it. Was there any news of issues with it?
Oh, no, this is just me, like, as a nerd asking a fellow nerd. Like,
I thought
did
there
you
was
enjoy it?
like some kind of like controversy around the ending or something. I thought it was good. Like, I didn't think it was like absolutely amazing. It didn't blow my mind or anything, but yeah, I thought it was solid.
Now, this is a game we spent a lot of time talking about last week, is Deathloop.
Yes. Yeah, they have that.
So now Microsoft owns that. So that means the Dishonored series, Prey, and Deathloop, Game Pass, baby.
Well, but I don't know if that's the case though, because there's a few games now that they have. This is the really interesting part about this acquisition. There's like 4 or 5 games that currently are made exclusively for PS5 that they now own.
We're going to talk about that for sure.
Okay.
Why don't we do it now? So Microsoft came out this week, because obviously that was the question on everyone's mind, is that obviously Deathloop and I can't remember which of the other big ones it was.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
That's right. It was Ghostwire Tokyo. It was supposed to be PS5 exclusives. At this stage, they are saying they will at least be timed exclusives, which I think that was supposed to be only timed exclusives anyway. But that is still going to happen.
Yeah,
because why
I
would
assume
they
that
care?
there was some kind of contract there put in place. So,
I'm assuming so. Either way, they're honoring it. But they're also saying that like not everything now is going to be, okay, well, you have to buy it on Microsoft. They were very clear about saying that they will very still likely release all of these games that are in production for multiple platforms. You can still buy it wherever you want. But the sales pitch, it's very easy. Do you really want to pay for them? Or do you want to pay $15 a month and you can play all of them?
yeah, exactly. There's
Like it's literally
the
saving
cheeky response there.
hundreds of dollars per year, you would save by playing the same game on Xbox or PC. I mean, you don't have to be coy. Like you capture all of the market this way. It's genius. It's genius.
Yeah, well, also just in the fact that it's really taking away agency for PlayStation to make those groundbreaking PlayStation 4 exclusives that kept people in PlayStation.
Yeah.
They're taking those companies away from them now, so they can't even have those exclusives later on. Like for right now, yes, we'll have these exclusives, but now the pool for them to make more exclusives later on just got smaller, which is like the big issue. So it's seeming really grim right now for PlayStation, honestly. Like they need to make some huge moves and they need to do it quick, or otherwise they just need to be okay with Xbox, beating them from now on, and kind of be like this, a little bit more like the Switch, where it's like, yeah, we're the Switch, we're not going to end up competing with the big two now. We're a comfortable third. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, not only that, like they really do need to make that move soon, because like Microsoft is coming at it from every angle possible. Like they launched the X Cloud. It's in its early access period as well now, which is like their equivalent of Stadia. Admittedly, we're hearing it's working better than Stadia, but still has a lot of limitations that Stadia does. And this is going to be something I'm going to talk about shortly. Even Amazon's coming at them now, with their Luna cloud-based streaming service. So yeah, that's going to be a big deal. Yeah. So look, Bethesda games, obviously Fallout, we already talked about. Elder Scrolls. Have a look at how many platforms people bought and continue to buy goddamn Skyrim.
Yeah.
You'd have to think Elder Scrolls 6, if you know you can get it on Game Pass, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
You a Skyrim lad, Piker? Or any of those Elder Scrollsy games?
I think I did play Skyrim forever ago. That's been around for like a long time, right?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'm thinking of the right game. Yeah, I definitely played that. I don't think I played any of the other versions. I remember that being super deep, super immersive. There was so much to do. That was a good time, but it's been a long time. I mean, God, Sony has got to be terrified right now with what's happening, just because the number one, purchase point that they had in the market for a long time was their exclusives, and it just really seems Microsoft knew it, and they're outpacing them. They're just taking that away from them left and right here.
Yeah. This was definitely like a power play big dick move against. I mean, it's very obvious that it was, but I mean, like, it hurt them in ways that I don't think is like super obvious. And because, like, their exclusives were like their biggest thing before, and they're just quickly reducing where they can get exclusives from at this point. And as you said, too, the integration is like the biggest thing. There's just a lack of integration. So, absolutely,
there is. So Starfield, we know, is one of the things that Bethesda is working on, and they're keeping it really close to the chest. So this week they came out and basically said that they've really gone back and overhauled the crap out of the engine. So they're not just taking like the Skyrim engine and just making a new game off it. They're completely rehauling something. They're saying the best way to think about it is like that leap between Morrowind and Oblivion. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying it's the biggest kind of overhaul they've done since then. So that's incredibly exciting.
I can't tell you how excited I am for it.
Oh my God.
I pumped so many hours into Skyrim, it's crazy. So
Right? Yeah. So we have no idea what was in Starfield yet, and nor do we. We know Elder Scrolls 6, it's heavily in development as well. So the fact that both of those are likely to go to Game Pass is crazy.
Yeah.
Man, they've made just the biggest play here. And they've really brought a nuke to a knife fight in regards to this generation's console
100%.
war. Like, it's unbelievable. Let's talk about what else they've got. So the Coalition makes the game of Gears of War games for these guys. Compulsion Games make We Happy Few, which is actually a really fun game. Double Fine Studios actually make some really good stuff too. So they brought us Psychonauts, Broken Age, Psychonauts 2 is currently in production. The Initiative is a new studio we don't know too much about, but Microsoft owns it, so it is what it is. ID Software. I mean, that's a name everyone knows.
That's huge, yeah.
Heard of Doom?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you haven't played Doom Eternal yet, and this is, I cannot believe how quickly this happened. I really can't. October 1st, Doom Eternal, Game Pass.
Jesus.
They're not fucking around. They're just going, we've got it. We're going to start swinging it right now. Yeah. Doom Eternal was a great game. I really enjoyed both of the Dooms. 2016 Doom, wasn't that excited about it. Picked it up cheap on like a second hand or whatever from the local gaming store and took it home and loved it. And then when Doom Eternal came out, pre-ordered it day one, had a blast of a time.
This one was just too fast-paced for me.
Oh, it's crazy. But it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, just turn the difficulty down if you worry about that.
Yeah, I guess I need to. It was just like I had to be constantly going up to people in order to stay alive, because my health dropped down. And if I remember correctly, like the only way you get health was if you killed other people to get health. And so I'd have to constantly be trying to do
pretty much, yeah. And the way you kill them is different. So you kill them one way, they get armor. You kill them another way, it gives you health. You kill them another way, it gives you ammo. Yeah, it was an interesting way of doing it for sure. Now Quake, not that they've really done much with that in recent years. There was that browser-based game, but what are you going to do? Inexcel Entertainment, Wasteland. I can't speak enough about how much I love that studio. They have an unnamed RPG in production. Now, I forgot about this one, that Microsoft owns Machine Games, who have been making all the more recent Wolfenstein games.
Oh, okay. Were the most recent ones good? I didn't play the Wolfensteins.
Oh my God, yes. We talked about like ridiculous over-the-top 80s movies before. This is that in a video game. Right? I'm talking about over the top. Like, I came into the same deal. There was like a Steam sale. Wasn't that interested. A couple of people said they were okay. The gunplay certainly isn't the greatest gunplay I've ever had. Like, that part of it is a little bit weak. But the story beats and the insane batshit things that happen. Like, let me give you one example of a scene. Let's see if this sells it to you. You are fighting a large group of Nazis. It's not going very well in this cutscene. You're about to die. Your girlfriend basically swoops in to save the day. In the process, in a slow-mo scene of her sliding in, she basically trips, mounts on top of you, is firing guns in a circle, and the force of the guns literally break her shirt apart with her boobs exposed. And as she's firing the guns at people, blood is splatting all over her. And you just end up with this scene of just carnage and boobs, and they eventually bang, right? Just that, it goes from that to then a scene with Hitler. Like in a very, very tense, very, very tense scene.
So you're telling me that I get to kill Nazis whilst fucking my girlfriend at the same time while we're killing them together. And that, my friend, is my dream scenario right there.
Like, it's raw fun. Like, I mean, it's not going to be the greatest as I said, gunplay game you've ever played. Many of the levels you're going to race through, like kill the captain, and then like you move on, right? Some of the fights are real interesting, but the character development, or the characters that they've got set up, like there's some genuinely creepy characters, some genuinely hilarious characters, but just the things that they do where you just go, all right, they're trying to keep some realism, and then you go, nope, there it's gone. And then there's another level and another level and another level of ridiculousness that it is just so fun. It's like if you dialed up the ridiculousness of the Expendables by about a fold of, let's say, 10, that's roughly in the ballpark of where the Wolfenstein games are. So much fun.
So I'm going to have to play the Wolfenstein game.
Well,
Dude, you really do.
Hebrew.
You really do.
Did you ever
My
play
name is
the
Hebrew
original?
Hammer. I have to do this. So I did play the original, like you talking about like an old school PC one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did play like a little bit of it because my dad played it a bit. So
Right.
yeah, but I don't remember too much about it. Just that
Look, there wasn't that much story back in the day, really. You were BJ Blazkowicz who had to fight his way out of a Nazi camp. That was the whole thing. And look, but now it literally is. Yeah, the storyline is it's a world where the Germans won World War II, right? So in itself, it's already a cool concept. And a lot of the technological and almost like arcane type things that Hitler was looking for, according to, some of the SS science teams that he had, it's like they found. So they have this crazy technology, and it's literally you trying to fight back as this underground resistance. And it is obviously not going well, right? So, and every time it feels like you're getting somewhere, there's like a massive setback. And they're finally, towards the end of the most recent games, like feel like you're getting somewhere. So, you kill a couple of his lieutenants and you're moving your way up. But then the first interaction scene that there was Hitler in there, bro, I can't. Even if you just see that one scene, I guarantee you that will sell you that game. It's
I will be
much
YouTubing
fun.
that scene tonight. I can guarantee you that.
Just do Wolfenstein Hitler scene. Yeah, it's unbelievably. If that doesn't make you want to play the game, I don't know what will. Other than boobs.
Yeah, the problem is I'm just going to have to get used to holding controller one hand, lube in the other. So it's
The thing is, like, that whole scene, like, I was laughing so hard because I was like, oh, are they going to do this? Yep, there it is. There's the boobs. There's the blood. Yeah, it was so funny. So funny.
yeah, it literally sounds like something from my dream. So yeah, the second you said that, I'm like, yeah, I have to play. This is literally like
hilarious, man.
Best scenario.
Yeah. Mojang Studios, that gives us Minecraft and Minecraft Dungeons. I mean, that's probably made them some money, let's be real. Ninja Theory, I actually forgot all about, was Microsoft. So the Hellblade series, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 is from them as well. That's in production. Obsidian Entertainment. So we've got Fallout New Vegas, they did. So this is the part of this announcement that made me the most excited. We now have the Fallout IP owned by Microsoft that has the new versions, right, with Bethesda. But Obsidian Entertainment did the original Fallouts and arguably most people's favorite of the newer style, which was Fallout New Vegas. Right, so Fallout 2 in the old days. So I am hoping
So you're thinking a beautiful
we're going to see like
is coming.
Fallout New Vegas 2.
Right.
Or my real dream, Fallout 2 Remastered.
That's your new dream over a brand new version of it? Or like a brand new
Oh, look,
game
I'd
surrounding it?
love there to be like, Fallout 2.5. Don't get me wrong. If they did like that type of game like Wasteland. But I have a feeling that there's too much overlap between InXile Studios making Wasteland and these guys having that. Like if they said to InXile, look, we're going to let you and Obsidian team up to work together so you have Wasteland and you have Fallout, which means I get 2 of these games every couple of years of a similar type. I'm on board, but I'm worried that they'll think it's too much overlap. So I think a remaster is probably the most I should hope for. But you're right. I would. That's my real dream.
Yeah.
But I'd certainly, if they did modern graphics, got rid of the old bugs, added in like a couple of new quest lines or something, yeah, I'd pay full retail release for that. I really would.
Fair enough.
They made the South Park RPG. They made
Stick of Truth. Dude,
Forgot all about that.
That game, amazing.
So much fun.
So
much fun.
yeah, I'm a fan of that developer right there. The second I had to play as Stan with my dad in the background having sex with my mom, and I had to dodge his ball sack. I knew I had a winner of a game right there.
Right.
So
That's pretty good.
yes, winning game.
Obsidian also has Grounded in early access at the moment. We talked about that very briefly a couple of weeks ago. That's the one where it's basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the video game, as a survival game. Looks really good. And they've got Avowed. Did you guys watch the trailer for Avowed?
Yes,
that I
I
linked through?
did. Yeah, I had seen it before. It actually looks really, really good.
It looks like their Skyrim, which I think was probably they were making this before this acquisition was even being talked about, and now they're probably seeing that Bethesda's coming in, going, "God damn it, are they gonna try and like stop us from doing this?" But the universe that looks like they're building there looks pretty rad.
Yeah, there was also a game called what was it? It was a console game. It was called something Might and Magic.
Well, there was the Might and Magic series, and there was Heroes of Might and Magic.
I'm gonna have to look at it because it was something. I feel like it was something Might and Magic.
Yeah, there's a lot of Might and Magic games.
It started with like a D, like Dark Force Might and Magic. There's anything like that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was actually produced by one of these studios that Microsoft owns, but I don't know if they own the actual Might and Magic IP. I was actually trying to find that beforehand, but yeah.
Because whatever that game was, I actually think it was on Xbox 360. But that game was great, and Avowed reminded me a lot of that game. So, I'm a fan. Actually, going to try to search for that.
Nice. The Forza Horizon is made by Playground Games, and they're working on a little game which you might have heard of, Hebrew, called Fable.
Now that is something I can get behind right there. Literally no one loves Fable as much as I love Fable. So I am super excited about that. I honestly think, like, I am so excited about the game because I know that they won't fuck it up because they can't afford to fuck it up. They brought it out.
Well, they have fucked it up previously. Playground didn't. It was made by someone else.
Right. But I mean, like, it was Lionhead before. They fucked it up so bad on the third one, and what's his face? Peter Molyneux or whatever his name is was a jackass, and he was the head of the studio. But since they brought it out of retirement, like, they know that they're going to have to kill it on this. So I'm super excited for what they're going to do with Fable. But yeah, and the fact that it's going to be, like, this means that it's probably going to be on All Access is even better because I'll have All Access by then. So yeah, I'm pumped. Pumped.
Did you ever play the Fable series, Pango?
No, I never got into it.
Dude, you have to.
Yeah, I don't know whether I sell it to him or not, because the Fable had some great beats, and the original was pretty good.
1 and 2 were both
same
fantastic. 1 and 2 were both fantastic.
What we have to do is we have to keep in mind all of the games you guys have told me to play and how little time I have to play them, and we need to, like, rank them. I need some sort of chart or graph that tells me, like, where to start and where to prioritize my time with all of these amazing games that I have to play.
You get your piece of paper, and then you put Fable and Fable 2 at the top of your piece of paper. That's your list.
And then you stick that piece of paper up your ass, because that's bullshit. They are not at the top of that.
That is the top of the list right there.
Yeah, I think go through it and, like, but that's kind of what we wanted this podcast to be for people, right? Is that we can say, okay, we've played all these things, and then have a chat with us about, like, what you think looks good, and if you want to join the Discord at discord.me/ANR, then we can chat about this stuff. Where we can say, okay, this looks great, and then talk to other gamers who have probably played even more than us. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, Rare Studios, which I have a real fondness for because of the Super Nintendo days. Like, obviously, they made all the Donkey Kong Countries, Banjo-Kazooie. I keep forgetting that Microsoft has owned that because, obviously, they've done not a lot, I guess, with it, but at the same time, they kind of have. So they have Sea of Thieves as their current ongoing thing. Battletoads, they just ruined that. Perfect Dark, I know they tried to make a game a little while ago. But Everwild, I don't know if you guys watched the trailer for Everwild, especially at the Xbox Games Showcase back in July.
I think I did.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It looks awesome, man. Like, it's looking at the trailer for it, like, the art style kind of looks like a very lovingly created kind of hand-drawn Disney Pixar movie, kind of like a mix of, like, Fern Gully and Breath of the Wild. It's probably the best way I can describe it.
I'm getting big Breath of the Wild vibes right now.
It looks real good, man. Everwild, it's one of those ones, I don't really know what it is yet, but the animation style in this setting just looks sick. It looks really good. So I think I'm going to have a look at that for sure.
Yeah, it does look good.
All right, so we've got that. Roundhouse Studios is a new studio. We don't know what they're up to at the moment. Tango Gameworks, they're the ones that did Evil Within, but more importantly, they're the ones working on that Ghostwire Tokyo game. I don't know what to think about that game, dude.
Dude, that looks like everything I want it to be and more.
See, when I look at it, it looks like if Super Hot VR was a rhythm game. Is kind of like, I know it's not, but when I look at the trailers, it looks like with the way that the colors go, because you're doing the whole martial arts, like with your fingers, like doing like a little sort of, I'm trying to think of what it is. Like, it almost looks like Doctor Strange doing martial arts. You know what I mean? Like with all the little finger poses and stuff.
To me, it looks like a Naruto summoner. It looks like someone that's a summoner from Naruto. They're doing all the hand gestures. They're summoning the gates and everything like that. Like, this game looks amazing to me. Plus, like Tokyo horror has always done amazing stuff. Like, I mean, that's just like a cool genre to like get into. So the fact that they're basically combining the two, oh man, I'm loving it. I'm getting like major Constantine vibes from it too. Like I can't wait to dig into this game, dude. This is gonna be
I don't know what
top
to
of my
think.
list.
What did you take away from that trailer, Parker?
It's tough because I'm not super into kind of that style. It was definitely difficult for me to kind of figure out what was going on and what type of game they wanted this to be.
Yeah.
It's just not really my genre, so I had a tough time connecting with it. That's probably the best way to put it.
Oh man.
So you're actually not alone there, because a lot of people, when it was first announced and we saw like the trailers, it looked like it was going to be real dark, gritty, and like you said, Hebrew, like real Tokyo horror.
Mm-hmm.
But that gameplay, when you watch it, like it's super arcade feeling.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks. I mean, it definitely has like,
It's
you know,
so
it
bright
definitely has
with
like
the
lots of
visuals,
flashing
though.
lights and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I get that, but I don't know. I think it still maintains the gritty style. I think like the fact that the like summoning parts of it, like having those kind of bright colors and stuff, I think that's just cool.
See, to me, I reckon if you put like a DDR track like Every Time We Touch by Cascada over the top of that game, it literally, do you know what I mean? Like, there's just something about it that it's like a horror game, but like the visuals are over the top bright. It's a weird feel. It's interesting. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to play it because it looks so weird in that sense that I don't know what it is.
It sounds like a fast track to epilepsy.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think if don't spend money on a neurologist, guys. Just buy this $50 video game for your kids. Get a pillow ready. Don't do that, please.
It looks like mysticism, like along with horror. So like it's total opposites, which is what I think makes it so cool. The only thing is that and I'm not sure if it was definitely feels like it was sped up a bit, but like it does look very fast paced. And so just for that, like that part concerns me a little bit, just because I hope it's not something that like I'm just not going to be able to keep up with visually. Like I don't want to have to move like 200 miles an hour in this fucking game. I want to be able to like take my time and explore and have that creepy feeling going. But so in that way, more so than the colors, I'm kind of with you. But either way, I think this game looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to play it. It's at the top of my list for the new gen. For sure.
Yeah, for listeners, let us know what you took away from that trailer. I guess we'll link it up in the show notes somewhere. But I'm curious to see what people think of this. What is this game basically? Turn 10 does Forza Motorsport for these guys. Undead Labs makes the State of Decay games. I still haven't played any of those. I really need to have a look at one of them since they're on Game Pass.
Yeah, the last like zombie kind of games that I've played, State of Decay, that's the zombie game, right? The zombie franchise.
Yeah.
Like the last zombie franchise, like once like Call of Duty Zombies, ran its course with me. I hadn't touched another zombie game since, Left 4 Dead was before that. If they ever make a new Left 4 Dead game, I will be there.
That patch came out today for the update for Left 4 Dead 2, by the way. So it's all ready to go.
I wish it was more for Left 4 Dead 1 than 2. Honestly, I didn't like the cast in Left 4 Dead 2 as like I did in Left 4 Dead 1. But so I've only heard good things about the State of Decay series, though.
For sure. ZeniMax Online obviously does the Elder Scrolls Online game. I'm really curious to see if Microsoft really invests more in that, because that's probably one of the only MMOs that's really thriving and flourishing in 2020. Like it's just going from strength to strength. And the fact the last couple of DLCs have all been around Skyrim, including one's out at the moment, which is called The Lost Treasures of Skyrim. Mm-hmm. I saw that title when I was going through the PlayStation deals today, and I was like, fuck, maybe I need to go back and play that too.
Yeah, fair.
Because that's been a pretty well done game. And then World's Edge was Age of Empires studio. It's kind of not really anything announced for those guys. So I think the summary of the story, guys, is Microsoft owns everything now.
Yeah, really.
Pretty much.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So exciting. There's just so many goddamn good games.
Yeah, it's just like next gen, there's going to be a clear-cut winner, I think, of who's going to win that console war for sure.
Well, here's a question for you. Do you think we'll see a PlayStation 6?
No. I think this is the last generation of consoles. Yeah, I think the technology will be up by then, that I think the streaming cloud services will be the thing.
I think that there'll be something. I think that it will be like you'll have some type of, but I think it'll be like a smaller console, like a very small console.
I reckon it'll be like an advanced modem that basically has like a direct like tunnel, if you will. So it's like optimized that this is your modem for all the internet in the house. This is the thing that maybe it's standalone, maybe it plugs directly into your TV and just goes straight up to like a, I don't know, 7G satellite or something. Who knows by that stage? But I think that when the internet catches up, that'll be the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think they'll close the door on a console, even if it doesn't make, even if like Microsoft is the clear-cut winner. I don't think that they'd close the door on that much money coming in from consoles. So.
Well, in many cases, the consoles, they don't make money.
Oh, that's true.
It's the games. Yeah, they quite often lose money. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, talking about Amazon Luna, since we're talking about cloud-based things, this was announced during the week and is just crazy in what this potentially could be. I think that the Xbox Cloud and certainly Stadia have shown us that it's probably not going to be. Every single one of them has made promises that they have not been able to deliver. They are all writing checks that their asses can't cash, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's break it down. Early access is going to start in the US, I think, next week. Like it's like October 2nd or something. So it's come out of nowhere and now it's just here. $6 a month during early access. Looks like they might open up down the track. You need to get an Amazon controller. Now, this is a super, super low latency controller, which will link up between either you, your TV, your PC, Mac, Fire Stick, iPhone, or iPad. Now, this is the thing that blew my mind, considering what's going on with Apple and Epic at the moment over the whole Fortnite stash, saying 30% is too much. Did you hear about this deal between Apple and Amazon?
No, I didn't.
No, me either.
Amazon is able to use this Luna through the apps with purchasable options, and they don't have to pay Apple a cent on those purchases.
I'm not super surprised because I feel like if Amazon offers you a deal for something, you take it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Amazon has the biggest dick in the world. So, like, if you have a chance to be part of something revolutionary, you fucking take it by them. So, it doesn't surprise me too much. But I do think that it's funny that whatchamacallit is Epic is probably like, what the fuck, bro? So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They'll be mad. They'd be real mad, bro. So, look, you've got the option to stream through Luna Plus across 2 different devices at the same time with 4K 60 FPS. That has been promised by both Stadia and xCloud. Very rarely is that actually going to be the case. In the US, which is the only place it's going to be available right now, there's no announcements at all for worldwide. I mean, this will not run in Australia. It requires too much internet. So it's going to require a minimum of 10 Mbps. But they're saying if you want to do 4K, you're going to need at least 35 on the down.
Right.
Yep. Now, data estimates. This is interesting. And they were very careful not to talk about 4K, which was hilarious to me. They've gone, at 1080p...
Of course not, yeah.
You're looking at 10 gig an hour.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Which is crazy.
Data.
That's a lot, yeah.
It's insane.
Because, like, how's internet in the States? Because you guys have, like, cap still.
Yeah. So for us, like, typically, like, 1 gig, which is, like, the still very high point now. Like, that's the top. That's going to run you, like... I want to say like $80-ish a month or so for a gig down. Obviously, you know, are you talking about cellular or home-based internet?
Home-based.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's probably interesting to discuss both because you could play this on mobile, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So with mobile, you're going to be looking at a nightmare storm because there's only a few people that offered unlimited, but it like things start to go down. I forgot what it's called, but as the more of it you use, they start like degrading your rate, your speed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with home internet, you're still looking at like probably for 35 megabytes down, like you're going to be looking at $40 or so.
Right. That's pretty crazy.
And keeping in mind, that's like direct connect. That's not wireless. If like wireless can be, you know, change dramatically depending on where you are. So that's the biggest problem. I have a gig down, but like the computer only actually gets like fucking 25 down.
Yeah.
On wireless. So,
that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what
That's
do
the
you
big
think,
problem
Pike?
with
Do you
these.
think that like people are going to try and stick with what they know with console, knowing the high barrier cost to entry? Or do you think that this is something that people are actually going to want more and more, is just to have no hardware a very simple subscription and just try and stream it, even though obviously caps are an issue in the US.
I think people definitely want that, but I think until someone nails it, until someone like really shows that this is working, phenomenally with no lag or no latency, people just aren't going to believe it, and I don't think they're going to pay for it. It's interesting. So I recently, just like in the past week, I tried to set up and see what SharePlay with the PS4 would be using my like iPad. And so I was able, Bluetooth connect to my iPad and, do the SharePlay. And it was a joke at how bad it was. And I don't have crap internet. It was just so laggy that it was basically unplayable. And I think that's kind of the experience with most of these cloud-based systems right now. Until somebody shows that it's as good as a console, I don't think people are going to be jumping on it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I just feel like, exactly. Like, I think that you're just going to be constantly looking at, like, degraded performance that will go in and out because Wi-Fi just isn't super reliable. And these games, something this high end that's going to be running off of it, like, you're just not going to get a consistent picture and performance.
In any game that injects any kind of multiplayer, once you start to have that lag, it's just, and you have different people trying to play with different home internet speeds and connectivity. I just see it as a nightmare.
Yeah. The more internet dependent you are, the more screwed you are in a gaming experience. That's for sure.
Yeah.
At least right now.
Now, what's interesting is, obviously, Amazon does have its own in-house game studios. It looks like they've gotten, a couple of developers to say, yeah, sure, we'll give you this game to be able to release on your platform. That's fine. But what they've got is, it looks like what they're going to try and do, and this is interesting, much in the vein of Twitch, is trying to have it so that when you go to this application, there are multiple channels. So, for example, you have, like we talked about, Luna Plus, so you can play those particular games. They're going to have Twitch crossover stuff with it. So you'll be able to go to the Twitch channel, see someone playing a video game, and then basically go, okay, this streamer's making this game look real good. I want to play this now. Push a button, then you're playing it. That integration is actually very cool if they can pull that off. But the channels thing, they've got one lined up. And this is actually news that we had on the list for last week, but we didn't really know what it was yet. Announced at the Ubisoft event, and that was Uplay Plus. Have you guys looked at this? It's their subscription
new,
service.
All access version. Yeah.
It's like their Game Pass or their whatever you want to call it. So it looks like in the last 24 hours that Amazon's actually reached out to them and they have a deal. That it looks like you'll be able to use this service with Uplay Plus on its own channel. So theoretically, my understanding, and this could be wrong, it's an evolving story, is that you might be able to take all these games that are on Uplay Plus and actually stream it through that service as well.
Yeah, that's not super surprising to me. It's a good play by them. It's kind of like the same thing as what's going on with like TV, HBO and like HGTV and stuff like that. They have their own individual streaming networks, but they also make deals with the bigger streaming networks as well to put their shows on.
True.
So it's the same kind of thing here. It's honestly like I hate the fact that these individual studios are now trying to make their own like Uplay Plus blah blah blah. Like I like it more under a bigger house where you can have more selection, which is what Stadia and Luna are doing. But
well, Stadia's like weak sauce. Like, not only do they not have their own offerings, but like the price of the games that are there. Like, they were supposed to have all these games that you get free, but you go over there and they're still like $60 or whatever it is. Like, it's like full retail. Everyone's like, why would I do this when I can play it on my PC?
Yeah, and I guess that's the biggest thing here. This is why this service is so amazing, is because it's the flat price a month, period. You don't pay for games on top of it. At Stadia, you pay the monthly fee, and you still pay retail for the games.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think Xbox still wins the day. Because if xCloud ends up merging with Game Pass, then nothing beats that. Right, with the sheer titles.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong, the Ubisoft link up with these guys is pretty good. Because think about what Ubisoft has under their belt. You're going to get all the Assassin's Creed games. So if you look on the website right now, you are getting, with that $15 a month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 13 games or something for Assassin's Creed alone. Because I forgot about all the little ones like Assassin's Creed Chronicles, India and Russia. Like, they're all there, right? Including the new ones. Beyond
Right.
Good and Evil, the Brothers in Arms series, all the Far Cries. That was obviously a very good series. The For Honor, with all the updates. We spoke about Heroes of Might and Magic earlier. I forgot that Ubisoft produced all of those. The Prince of Persia games were all through them as well.
Yeah.
And the remake is going to be a part of that as well. The Rayman series. The Stick of Truth was actually Ubisoft, but I think must have been published by one of those studios we were talking about before. So I think Ubisoft still does own that. The Settlers series, that sounds like something Pike could be into. Division 2, all right? All the Rainbow Six series, the Splinter Cell games, the Watch Dogs games. Like, Ubisoft has a lot under their belt. Like, they've got probably enough to, like, sub for a while, but I don't know if they've got enough. I mean, let's have a look at what they've got coming up. They've got the new Watch Dogs coming. Oh, I forgot about that. That Immortals game, Phoenix Rising. That's
yeah,
Ubisoft.
that's a big one.
That's coming. The Prince of Persia remake. That's going to be coming to that service as well. A bunch of like weird like BMX rollerblades games, because apparently that's a thing. Looks like there's going to be like a Settlers. I don't know if this is a Settlers sequel or what this is, but there's a lot of this. And then this one was interesting. The very, very old Scott Pilgrim versus the World video game.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Got removed online just out of nowhere because rights expired or something. And there's been this push by all the people associated with Scott Pilgrim to bring it back. So it looks like Ubisoft is going to be doing that with what they're calling a complete edition pretty soon. So they got a fair bit to offer. I don't know that I'd have a permanent subscription. I think I'd probably duck in and out on something like that. It doesn't have the depth or the frequent updates that someone like Microsoft's going to have through Game Pass. But it's, yeah. I think you sub when a new game comes out for Assassin's Creed. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I think this whole scenario is going to be pushing Microsoft really hard, because from a platform side of things, it's competing with Sony. From a like game subscription service situation, Amazon, considering the resources that it has to put into things, I have a feeling they're going to try to make Luna huge, especially considering its combination with Twitch. Like, I have a feeling that on that front, it'll be battling out, Amazon, and Microsoft and Amazon are like the two titans in industry, period. So I have a feeling that you're going to see Microsoft push to the point where they're just going to have to be kings in all regards, and then you're going to be, the other two will kind of maybe not fade, but they'll be obvious seconds compared to Microsoft. So Microsoft is in a position right now where I think next generation we're going to see them as the undisputed winners of any kind of, game subscription service or console situation.
Can I say that it's such a refreshing breath of air that we're seeing value starting to come back to gamers?
Yeah.
Because companies, especially in the world of microtransactions, for such a long time have been, what can we do to make a game where we don't give a shit if it's fun, we don't give a shit if the players love it, if they're attached to it, whatever. We're going to make it the most money-making machine as we possibly can. To see these things getting packaged together so that great stories are going to be experienced by people that maybe would have been missed otherwise because they can get it on such a cheap subscription model. And even for people where like gaming was just a barrier because it was so expensive. Like, I mean, you could buy for your kid an Xbox and the Xbox Game Pass, and you're sweet. Like, yeah, sure, the kid can't play every Xbox game, but you can say, look, I'm going to buy the Xbox, the games I'm getting for you, kid, that's on the subscription model there with Game Pass. You want to get anything else, save up your pocket money. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love where this is going. I really do. What I do wonder about is, though, how are these developers going to make money off this?
That's what I was
like
just
the
thinking.
The non-Xbox ones.
They're going to
How
have
do they
to
survive?
Well, I think in that same regard, because of this and the rise of these game subscription services, we're going to see pressure being put back on the developers to make quality content games. Because if they don't, they will get fucked. They can't rely off of, we had an amazing trailer, we can hype it up, and then if it doesn't actually have substance, whatever, we don't care, you already bought our game. That's not going to be the situation anymore. So I think that we're going to see a lot of pressure put back on developers here, which is honestly what we need, because they've been getting away with too much stuff for too long.
Absolutely. All right. Now, this is something that I'm showing my age, but it's something that I definitely have been starting to see more and more. So what's quite often happening now is that you'll see these games that like on r/gaming on Reddit or a lot of the subreddits involving video games. Like, you see these games like taking over. And you're like, what the fuck is this game? Right? And like, it's not a AAA. It's not like a major IP. And just everyone's talking about it. And the memes are everywhere. And like the memes the memes are hilarious. I'm like, okay, I need to go back and figure out A, what is this game? And B, why are people talking about it? And the trend more recently is that like it's whatever the big Twitch streamers are playing. You know, and I guess I haven't really thought about like how engaged with streaming some people are. Like there's a guy I've been playing Avengers with who he go like, I was watching Alana the other day. I'm like, who's Alana? He's like, oh, it's such and such from Twitch. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like he's on like a first name basis. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh shit, okay, yeah, I'll look up this person later.
Yeah.
And what they're playing, like that make really good, entertaining to watch videos, are now sort of pushing like games that were probably lost in obscurity in any other year. That now they're like the biggest thing. Like they're rocketing to the top of the charts. And the one that is this at the moment is called Among Us. It was Fall Guys kind of a month or so ago. Now it's Among Us. Have you guys seen this game?
I've played this game.
Oh, have you really? All
Yeah.
right, so you're going to take over the conversation now then?
Yeah, sure. So what happens in this situation is you get into a game. It's a super fun game, by the way. You really need to download it. It's on multiple platforms. I played it on mobile, but so it just released. Basically, what you do is you're in a room with a bunch of different people. You can either do people that you know, or you can go be match made with people. One of you guys is an imposter in this spaceship. Everyone else is workers. You have to go in, and then after like a few, basically like a minute, if I remember correctly, the time limit of one round, the game will stop, and the imposter will have killed someone. And then everyone has this round where they have to discuss who they think the imposter is, and then they basically boot someone from the spaceship. Obviously, you as the imposter have to pretend like you're, one of the people. And so the game keeps going round after round until they boot the imposter, or the imposter is the last one that's left. It's really fun. It's a party game. That's why it's really big on Twitch right now, is because it's so much fun to watch, because you're booting it up with all of your friends, and you're in there, and you don't actually have to show if you're the imposter or not, kind of thing. So it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. You guys need to play it.
Yeah, it's so interesting because like I was like, how do you get away with this? Like, can you sort of have a detective game where everyone's looking for the killer, right? And the way they've done it is actually quite interesting. And what they do, Piker, is they have it so that everyone has a series of tasks they have to do in each round. So the idea is like what people are looking for is they're trying to do their tasks. They're having to run across, they have to fix like a gas valve or something. But they're also trying to watch out for, okay, who isn't doing tasks right now? Or who's in the wrong spot? Right. Who's following me for apparently no reason? Like, it's kind of like a very lo-fi Cluedo in like fast action real time. What I was going to ask, Hebrew, is with the voice on mobile, is the voice just interconnected? Like at the end of the round, it just turns your microphone on. Is that how it works?
I actually haven't used voice at all. It's just chat from at least from what I've done so far.
It's just chat.
Yeah,
See, I've only seen the
chat.
Twitch ones where it's all voice. Interesting. Okay.
So I watched like the little trailer for this game. I want to play it. It actually looks really fun. Like I definitely
the three of us should do it.
To download
We
this.
We definitely should do it.
Yeah. I definitely want to play
I'm going to fuck you guys so hard in this game.
We'll
I'm
see.
going to blow up a spaceship.
I've seen some masterful people do it, because it's like you said, you really
It's
are
really
you have to do like very subtle things. If you are the imposter, like you have to be very subtle about it. But so it's definitely fun. It's a good time. And I think that's also another thing that's been missing from gaming a lot recently, is I think like just like fun ass party games is like a big thing. I think the prevalence of Fall Guys brought that back pretty hardcore recently. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting little game. And do you know what? It's actually been around since 2018, that game.
Oh, really?
It's been around for ages.
I guess it just got released on mobile is what it was then.
Yeah, well, they were announcing they're going to do Among Us 2 because they were getting ready for the sequel. And then out of nowhere, this game's like firing up in the charts. They're like, what is going on? So they're like, all right, maybe we'll just like flesh out all the features here instead. So I think they've made a really smart call there. So yeah, we should check it out. I think I'm going to bring in a couple of friends of mine with us too, because that's Shibby as well, by the way, Hebrew.
Bring in Shibby, yeah.
Because he and I used to play a lot the board game version of Battlestar Galactica. which very similar vibe, is that you're on the Galactica. The Galactica has to keep jumping away from the Cylons until eventually you escape them and reach Earth, right? That's the whole thing.
Right.
But on board, 2 of you are Cylons, and no one else knows. And you're trying to figure out who is potentially a Cylon and trying to kill them before they can screw the game.
Right.
So you've got like the Cylons trying to take positions of power, like the Admiral or the President, because once they get that power, they can really fuck you. So like when you see someone going, look, just make me president this turn, people are like, whoa, 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 send it to the brig, right? You know, it's so that kind of real paranoia type game. Shibby and I used to play a lot, man.
Yeah, I think Shib would definitely dig that, knowing him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. So now that I've seen this, I'm like, yeah, we should do it. Because when I saw like the gameplay before I knew what this was, I'm like, why the fuck do people care about this? It looks
it's
so
a goofy ass looking
child. Yeah, it is. It really is. And like seeing people like when they murder them, it's like the most lo-fi thing I've seen in like a year. But no, it's a really great idea, and I think it's a real fun party game. So yeah, we should definitely check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, it's been a little while, but let's head on over into Hebrew's Mobile Corner. What's happening out there in mobile gaming, mate?
So in my little corner over here, I have a couple games this week. So I like to mention like IP games specifically, and there was 3 of them that released today. I am not saying that they're good. I will tell you which ones are good and which ones aren't. So the first one is, have any of you guys watched Shark Tank? Do you like watching Shark Tank?
Do you mean the one where they pitch like ridiculous business ideas and say, I'm going to let you have 2% for $1 million?
That's exactly how it works. Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you ever wanted to play that game and be one of the people in those chairs, you can play a very poorly skinned tycoon game where you are just that person and you get to invest in anything that you want. And it's very, it's kind of like a little bit of a gotcha system. And the people that come and pitch things to you are either going to be like, 5-star pitchers or 2-star pitchers or whatever like that with their businesses. And, you can rank up your businesses. It's honestly terrible.
So it's like Mark Cuban Simulator 2020.
Yeah, pretty much. It's really bad, and there's no chance of failure whatsoever. So it's just not good. So I would recommend staying away from that. But if you really love Shark Tank and you like tycoon games, you can give it a shot yourself. But you'll probably trash it within the first 2 days, I'm guessing. The next one is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was like after the whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trend, so like this isn't mean too much to me, but apparently people loved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You're so young.
Mate, the original arcade game. Did you ever play that, Piker?
Yes, I remember the cartoons too.
Yeah, man. I wanted as a kid the toy for the van, the Turtles van, and the aerial blimp thing so badly. And I remember getting real sick to the point where I had to get hospitalized. And that's what it took for Mum to buy me one of those. So I was like, fuck yeah, man. Bring on the measles.
Yeah, I think I saw one of their... I mean, I saw the most recent movie that they made, which was god-awful. And then
we don't talk about that.
Then I saw one of the older ones where, like, they were all obviously in, like, plastic suits. And it was...
Oh, the movies?
Yeah.
Oh, man. No, Turtles in Time. You're missing out. Go back and watch Terminator Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time. Oh, actually, no. Was it Turtles in Time? Was it the movie or the game?
The name of it sounds either way, so ridiculous. Turtles in Time.
Do it. Yeah, buddy.
Okay, so this game came out, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Madness. So this is basically, if anyone has ever played AFK Arena, this is just like that. It's an idle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's an idle action game. Whenever you go into combat, you set your team and then you go up against a set enemy team, and what happens. You're only limited to just being able to use like their ults and the auto attack in between. So yeah, it's if you're a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, get it. It's kind of amped up. Just continuing my reference from AFK Arena, it's better graphics than AFK Arena. Way better character models and stuff like that. If you really like the IP, definitely give it a shot. This might actually be a good game. I didn't play a whole bunch of it, but the bones seem definitely decent, to say the least. But yeah, it's obviously a clone. So yeah, worth a shot though if you like it. And then of course we have Harry Potter Puzzles and Spells. This was 100% made very quickly in someone's computer to capitalize on that new Harry Potter game trailer that just came out. So it is a puzzle game, and it is not that much effort put into it, but it is Harry Potter, and nothing sells like Harry Potter, like the name Harry Potter. So if you're a big fan of that IP, give it a shot too. I actually am still playing it right now because I do like puzzle games and I do love Harry Potter. So I'm the perfect person for them, and it's growing pretty rapidly. So obviously there's enough of us Harry Potter lovers and puzzle lovers to keep it going. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk to you guys about is actually like a big deal. So this was announced not too long ago at what was the last big Gamescom? It was announced at Gamescom for PS4 and Android, iOS, and soon to be Switch. Switch is coming a little bit afterwards. And it's also going to be on PC. And so this game is called Genshin Impact. I kind of mentioned its sister game that I'm currently playing right now. It comes out on September 28th. You can preload it on September 26th. It is cross-platform, but it is limited cross-platform. I found out only in the terms of PlayStation 4. For some reason, you cannot switch over game data from PlayStation 4. I don't know why. You can do it with PC to your phones or anything like that. Can't do it to PlayStation 4. But don't let that stop you, because this game is absolutely fucking gorgeous. It is amazing looking. The combat system is astounding. If you play Honkai Impact, the sister game I mentioned, you will quickly see why the combat in this game is so exciting. It is one of the best combat systems I've seen. The combat is dynamic in the form of that there's element systems, but you can combine elements so you can have combos with people. So if you use wind and then your buddy that you're co-oping with has fire, you can make a goddamn fire tornado if you want. Cool. Like, those kinds of things are super fucking cool. If there's water, there's any kind of water around, you can freeze the water. You can interact with the elements of the game. So if there's grass on the ground, you can burn it and set fire to it and burn your enemies. So stuff like that. It's really if it's raining, you can use electricity. Your electricity will be more powerful. So stuff like that, super cool. It has, like I said, it does have co-op. Right now, the co-op is more meant for endgame dungeon activities rather than solo play. They're planning on adding more to co-op as the game develops more, but they want you to focus first and foremost on the single player mode. The story is supposed to be absolutely amazing. And then it has endgame dungeon activities and stuff like that. It's going to be an ever-growing game. It's going to be a lot of really cool stuff that's coming out for it. No PvP. They wanted no PvP at the beginning. They were the same way with Honkai Impact, which is, by the way, a super popular game as well. That's why this game they know was going to do incredibly well. But they didn't have PvP on that one either. Then they added that one in later. It's expected to do the same over here, but they don't want this game to have PvP at the beginning. So, yeah, all in all, it's supposed to be incredibly good. If you want to play this game, I highly recommend that you go on their site. They did a whole bunch of like pre-registration rewards. So if you sign up before launch on their site, which I'll probably put in the show notes, or you can join the Discord, and you can find it there. I'm going to make a channel for it. If you go to their game site, their developer site, MiHoYo, and you can sign up there with a specific email address, or you can create a new account through them, something like that, and then you'll be able to, day one, sign in, get all those rewards. There's a whole bunch because it passed every single registration mark, and you're going to be good to go. It is an amazing game. Please try it. It is anime-ish style, but the graphics and the character models and everything, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. You need to play this game.
Well, we're watching gameplay footage the whole time you've been talking, and it looks like Breath of the Wild merged with Black Desert Online.
That was one of their biggest inspirations, they said, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, you can tell by the cooking systems. It looks a lot like the menu and inventory system looks a lot more like Monster Hunter World, which is a good and a bad thing at the same time for me. But all in all, like, I pre-registered yesterday after watching a little bit of the trailers of this, after you were hyping it up. I think if this plays well on mobile, I think it could be a fun jump in, jump out. I'm curious to see how slick it is on mobile, for sure. But I think PC, it's going to run just fine.
Yeah, after playing the sister game, which is just as graphically intensive on mobile, it plays like a dream. So I'm not worried about that in the slightest bit. Cool. So yeah, give it a shot. And if you want to kill some time in between and get a feel for it, play that sister game that I mentioned.
Now, being a mobile game, I got to ask the questions, the big ones. What's the monetization model here? Like, I'm assuming this is not a free-to-play game.
It is not a free-to-play game. There isn't like much that we know as far as, you know, how free-to-play it is. Right. So the only thing that you can compare it really off of is its sister game, which is not bad at all. You can unlock the characters without having to spend at least most of the characters, because like I said, I just downloaded it the other day, so I've been playing through it from there. But as far as this one is concerned, you don't exactly know. There's definitely you can buy stuff for summons and stuff like that. But it is a gacha game at heart. But I'm not sure how free to play it is. That being said, it does look like they're giving away lots of free stuff, and the resources in the sister game come along pretty regularly to do summons and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, look, we'll obviously be out by the time we do the next pod, so I'm interested to hear how your gameplay's been if I haven't had a chance to play.
Yeah.
Just because I've got a lot on my plate this week with other games.
Yeah,
but yeah, especially with Star Wars, buddy. Yeah, I'm curious to see what this is, because like I think it looks very like action-based RPG-ish.
It is, yeah.
In a good way. And I love already just in the like 20 minutes of footage I've been watching, like the diversity of the characters you come up against.
Yes.
Like it's so many other games like this, they phone it in so hard in the early parts of the game that it's like everything's just the same. But in like one region, I've seen already like 14 different enemy types, which already is better than the Avengers, which is a AAA title.
Yes.
So
that's pretty crazy.
yeah, and beautifully animated too. Like I love the look of this game. Are you watching it, Pike?
I watched some of it earlier. I have to be honest, like the anime games don't really attract a lot of my attention usually. So I'll probably listen to, you know, Hebrew next week and kind of see where he's at with it and if he's still enjoying it, and maybe I'll, you know, check it out.
Yeah.
Actually, I changed my mind. I'm definitely going to play this game. I just saw this chick summon a fucking fire panda. Yeah.
Well, that's one of my favorite things about it, honestly. It was just that the character diversity, like the player character diversity is huge. So like even from the game that I'm playing right now, there's so many different characters in its sister game that like I have full confidence in how diverse this new one is going to be. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. And the fact that you can do so many like on the fly combos with, like I said, combining elements and stuff like that. And you can have, you know, multiple people on a team that you seamlessly switch in and out of as you need, to do combos with yourself even. It's really, really cool. So
we should definitely talk before I download it. I'll have to make sure that we don't end up like all fire people or something.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, it's going to be dependent on partially who we get in our summons though. So yeah.
Oh, right. So is this going to be one of those ones where like Muggin's going to get pissed off because he has to re-roll like 1,000 times and you and I get it on the first roll?
Oh, I should mention on this one, this is a game where I don't know if you want to re-roll.
Really?
Like, it's like 20 minutes in that you are going to want to re-roll. Like, yeah, so, and honestly, it's not super necessary from what I've seen. So like, and pretty much and this works with every single gacha game, the further you are into it, like the more time has passed, the less those original summons matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
do you have to level up like the new ones from scratch? Like, for example, if you've got a guy to, I don't know, level 100, let's say that's a thing. Like, am I then going to have to go, all right, well, now I have to get this guy from scratch all the way up because he's going to be just a better character?
Yeah. I mean, there is individual leveling of the characters, yeah. At least, I should say, at least in the sister game there is. So I'm assuming that's how it's going to work in here.
So would you advise a lot of caution in like in the early game to players, like say, don't like just level the first guys you get, like just wait?
Well, there's multiple parts of leveling a character. So like there's, you know, and some of them you can actually equip to other characters. So there's multiple things that you can do here for that. But I would say don't heavily invest in one single character anyways. Like you kind of want to like a group of 3 solid characters is kind of what you want. And yeah, you don't want to go heavily into one particular character. And it's just the way it is, where there's going to be characters later on. Although it already has like a large amount of characters. They just added 4 more yesterday, I think, before, the launch was coming. So like you're going to see, new characters come in and stuff like that. But, they seem pretty balanced as far as old versus new. But yeah, so you'll just have to kind of wait and see. I just don't think that this is a game where I would spend a bunch of time re-rolling, because there's lots of people that are making multiple accounts, like, pre-registration accounts. That way you get those rewards every time that you re-roll, which is also another hassle. So I'm just I'm straight up going to be like, what I get is what I get. And I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case, because like so many of these things, it's like that randomized at the start. And I do hope that like there's not like very clear, like overpowered as balls characters that you can just get out of the gate. Because if you don't get it, then it's like, well, probably doesn't matter at the start when there's no PvP, I guess. But if they bring that in down the line, it could be a big deal.
Yeah, variation. I mean, like there is some variation in strength, but it's more so from like how these characters combine with other characters, kind of thing. So as the game grows and you have more options anyways, other people will get stronger and some other people might get weaker. So yeah, it's one of those kind of games.
I know, I dig it. I think I'll probably give it a look at some stage
it's worth a shot.
once I've done with my X-Wing.
Yeah.
What about you, Parker? You going to be an airbender?
Well, I'm gonna slow play this. I'm gonna wait and see what you guys think next week, and I'll make my decision then.
Yeah,
good call.
Fair.
Yeah, let's tee up on this one during the week, mate. I'll definitely spend some time with you.
Let's do
it. Excellent. All right. Anything else in the mobile corner?
That is it for the mobile corner.
All right. Let's get into what is coming out in the next week or so. The big one for me, and look, I know this is going to be just a multiplayer experience. It's not going to be a deep, engaging whatever. But Star Wars Squadrons, I could not be more excited.
Yeah, I'll be getting
the VR cockpit. You're going to get it on Oculus, yeah?
Yeah. You said we're going to play together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Buying it on Steam, right?
No, remember we found out we could do it through the Oculus and Steam, right?
Oh, I didn't know if it was available on that Oculus store. Either way, good to know, man. I'm 100% buying that game like the second I get off this podcast. It's happening.
I'm so jealous of you two bastards.
You should
Buddy.
get one.
Oh,
dude.
you don't? You get on PS4. We can still play with you. It's full crossplay.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting. Okay.
You can play on your little peasant controller over there.
Yeah. Just want to have a cool headset to go with it.
I'll be sitting there with my flight stick in my hands. Yeah. I'm
You
sorry,
could always get a
actually
PSVR.
unbox it.
Yeah, you could always get a PSVR.
That's true, actually. You could get a PSVR. This is why I wish sometimes we lived closer together and not like 15,000 miles apart. Because I would literally bring my PSVR to your house and you can play on that while I go home and play on the Vive. 100%.
Yeah.
Dude, I actually I did something so stupid whenever I was moving out of my apartment just a little bit ago. I got so frustrated because my timeline to move was like so quick. I had to get out of there fast. So I was so tired and just done with the day and done with packing up shit, and I didn't need my PSVR anymore. I threw it away.
What is your problem?
I know. I like the next day I was like, why did I do that? Like I shouldn't have thrown it away, because I had my Oculus, so I never used the PSVR now. But I was like, that was so stupid. Why the fuck did I just?
Dude,
throw
even
it
just
away?
for like the Iron Man game. Like the Iron Man game's been quite fun. I haven't finished it yet.
Well, I was
but
thinking
it's one
I
of those
could
ones
have given it to someone. Was what I was thinking. I was like, why did
could have sent it to
did I
Parker,
do
you
that?
bastard.
Yeah,
Selfish play. My
So
God. That's it. And then we hear the story of when like he thinks that his wife and the kids have gone out and decides to put on some PSVR porn. They walk home. He doesn't realize. Hilarious things could have ensued from that.
That's
and
true.
You've ruined everything.
That's true. Yeah. Great masturbation.
Now, speaking of VR, there is another Walking Dead VR game coming.
Jesus, they won't stop.
Well, it's 2 different studios and 2 different concepts as well. So Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, I played a couple of hours of, and it's on my list of VR games I need to go back and play. Because while those kind of games do freak me out a little bit, especially, as I said, Resident Evil, that game was so good in regards to the way the gunplay and the arrows worked and the walking and running around. It's probably one of the cleanest ones I've ever felt. Like outside of Half-Life Alyx, which I think is the greatest VR experience out there right now, Saints and Sinners was very, very good. Really enjoyed it. But this one's called Walking Dead Onslaught. Now, the main difference is that with this one, it's actually based on the characters from the show. So it's actually set in the show's timeline. whereas the other one's just set in that universe, right?
Right.
So you're actually going to be playing through the story as Daryl from the show. And it's going to be set after the Savior War finishes with Alexandria.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then once you finish the story, then you got the option to do some like just sort of separate missions where you're doing like runs, basically. You know how in the show there was like going on like supply runs and whatnot?
Yeah, of course.
So you can do that as either Daryl or Rick.
I'll be Daryl.
Motherfucker.
Right now. I'm
just going to be... If you and I play this on VR, I'm just going to go, Coral!
Yeah.
Coral!
Coral!
Yes, please. I'm buying it. If you buy it, I will buy it. Just so we can do that. And then we have to play with strangers who don't know us. So we just go, Coral!
Well, you can do that.
Funny,
Daryl doesn't say
shit.
Carl. He always goes Carol, I guess. Carol!
He just... just into the... Coral!
Carl!
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be terrible to play
Dumbest
with.
video ever, yeah. I don't know why people listen to this. All right. So you know what game we have not have enough versions of, guys?
It has to be Super Mario Sunshine.
No. There's more. There's actually more of those than the world has needed.
Yes.
Super Mario Brothers, the original, is now getting a 35 years anniversary game coming to the Nintendo Online Store on October 1st. It's only going to be available until March. And this looks very interesting. I don't know that we needed this. I mean, I'm sure someone will love it. So what it is, it's Super Mario Brothers, the original game, right? There it is. But it's multiplayer experience that can have up to, I want to say it was 35. I could be overblowing that. Don't quote me on that, please. But let's say a lot of people. And then what happens is your games are linked. So what happens is when you kill a turtle, right, and you kick it off the screen, it'll throw that turtle onto someone else's screen. Or when they do it, it might throw it onto your screen. So you're going to end up with like all these enemies appearing out of nowhere, adding like all these extra layers. So you're trying to finish the run, but you're also trying to make other people's runs more difficult as they try and make your run more difficult at the same time. It's such a weird idea.
That seems more frustrating than fun. Do I get to see what I do to other people?
I don't know. Like they showed this sort of split screen stuff in the announcement trailer. It's all sorts of weird.
It sounds
It's
weird.
not something I'm going to be diving into. It's like I guess they're trying to make like a more fun Mario kind of standalone party game, but I don't know.
I don't think I'll be playing that one. That one sounds just frustrating.
Yeah. Crash Bandicoot 4 is coming to Xbox and PS4 on October the 2nd. There's another game coming out this week called Warsaw. I think it's been out on other platforms before, maybe a year or two ago, but it's coming out to a few more. And it's basically like a turn-based old-school Final Fantasy style combat system, but it is set in World War II in Poland, telling the stories apparently of some of the Polish heroes that were fighting back against the end of the Nazi regime. It's an interesting idea. The gameplay looks okay. I wouldn't go out of my way to play it, but that's coming out this week as well.
Fair enough. Have you guys did you guys see that there was a new Pokemon Snap game coming? It's not coming within the next week, but
Yeah. The trailer, well, not a trailer, but like leaks about it started to come out.
No, full-fledged trailer came out.
Oh, Pokemon Snap? Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. Full-fledged trailer came out. I think it was about a month ago it came out.
Okay.
But yeah, were you guys ever fans of Pokemon Snap?
On the 64?
Yeah.
That's the photo one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was better than the actual Pokemon game on the 64. What was that, Stadium?
Yeah, Stadium. Pika, did you ever play it?
No, so I've never gotten into anything Pokemon really.
Oh, man.
I know.
my
I mean,
God.
hey, limited time.
Dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, back then?
No, not even back then.
Mate, were you even a gamer if you didn't have a Game Boy and a link cable?
I don't know.
to
I
trade
feel like I might
Yeah.
need to turn my gamer card in.
If for not knowing Pokemon, you should feel really bad about yourself at least.
Yeah, it's going to be on the resetting of the exam for the gamer card.
Okay, this
for
no
sure.
longer feels like a safe space. Feeling very judged right now.
It's never been a safe space.
Well, this new Pokemon Snap is coming out soon, and Pokemon Snap was my favorite game of all time on
Wow.
Nintendo. Well, maybe GoldenEye was.
I was going to say, you
good.
cannot throw that out there with GoldenEye was on that console.
Big
Good
words.
God.
Yeah. So and Smash Bros. So GoldenEye, Smash Bros, Pokemon Snap, I'd say. Pokemon Snap was absolutely amazing. So there is a new Pokemon Snap coming out soon for all of you Pokemon Snap fans out there. So I cannot wait to play that game. It's not coming the next week or so I'm sorry if I give you false hope on that. But yeah, it is coming.
Do you know where my brain went to when you said that? It was like around that era on the N64, there was a WWE game. I want to say it was like WWE Raw or WWF Raw or something. It was still WF back then. And it was like the one where you could like design your own like entrance music and stuff like that. Man, I used to spend some hours on that on the 64.
I remember a WCW game on the 64 that I played the
Oh,
crap
God.
out of.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was really good.
I think I haven't played WCW. Interesting. All right, let's talk about the sales that are on this weekend and some of the Game Pass updates. So for Steam, Devil May Cry is on sale right now up to 75% off. Nier Automata, you got to watch that trailer, Hebrew.
Yeah.
I swear it's going to be up your alley. That's 50% off at the moment. Now, one game that I have been keeping an eye on because it looks fun as hell is called Deep Rock Galactic. Have you guys had a look at this?
No.
Cliff Notes is that basically you are a squad of 4 dwarves who have to go down and basically protect their mining operation. So you have to mine. It's a fully destructible environment. And when I heard that, I expected to see really blocky things like Minecraft, right? But no, it's actually quite a slick Borderlands-y sort of style graphic shooter with different classes. And the idea is, yeah, you're fighting off waves of shit that's trying to mess with your mining operation while still continuing the mining operation. So it's a really fun kind of mixed bag. The destructible environment means you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. I think the gunner, the main character as well, can like fire a zip line. So you can literally just like fire it into where you are, shoot it across the map, and then just like zip across the dark canyons of the cave to get to the next mining area. You know, you got like a little scout dude that fires flares so you can see where you're going in these tunnels within the mountain. Like, it's such a really fun idea, but watching the gameplay looks very fast-paced, very hectic, a really good localized co-op game with matches that are like 20, 30 minutes. It looks like quite fun.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
So that's 30% off right now. And Soul Calibur 6, which I still haven't played, but I really should.
Get it.
It's on the Steam store for 75% off right now.
Yeah, get it. Play it.
Yeah. The PlayStation Store, the double discounts that we talked about last week remain until the 1st of October. So you still got a few days to take advantage of that. A lot of big titles on there. All the Assassin's Creeds, the Mortal Kombats, basically all the ones we talked about on sale last week with PlayStation. They're still available. Piker, I thought about you when I saw this one. The Epic Store has a free game, as it quite often does. And this week is Roller Coaster Tycoon 3.
Interesting. So all of the Roller Coaster Tycoons after the original kind of sucked, in my opinion. So that is interesting. However, the next game, Civ 6, that is a winner. I've loved the Civilization series going back forever, and 6 is a really, really great game. And I think they have a new like Frontier Pass out right now, which is like an additional expansion / subscription service that they're bringing a whole bunch of new content and new civilizations to the game.
Oh, that could be interesting. That's something that I would consider because I really enjoyed it, but it does go through those stale modes. I haven't gone back since they added the Australian faction.
Oh,
and I'm
you
I
need
need to.
They've done a whole bunch. They did. Oh God, what was it? I can't remember the name of it. But it was like a whole climate addition to it. So you have all kinds of volcanoes and climate-related stuff. You can build all kinds of new wonders and tile improvements. It's a really, really good game.
Nice. And the reason you're talking about that, guys, is in our show notes, it is $15 right now,
Yes.
75% off on the Epic Store. So that is one good place to get that one from right now. And then, actually, we should mention, don't we have a code for Epic Store? We should probably do this when people are actually buying stuff on Epic. Isn't it Alternerd?
We do.
I think it's
yes.
Alternerd.
Yeah,
We have
it is.
Let's say it is. Make sure you're going to the Epic Store, guys. And obviously, please, go wherever the value is. But it is pretty good buy over there at the moment. I forgot that we sold out there. Game Pass. Game Pass has amazing things going on. As always, Halo 3 ODST is now available through the Master Chief Collection on Game Pass, so that's obviously a great game. We had Night in the Woods announced this week is coming to Game Pass. Vermintide 2, which is that Warhammer game I was telling you about, Hebrew, which was the Warhammer Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. I've never played.
So that's on
Warhammer
Game Pass.
games,
Now that it's on Game Pass, we should give it a go.
Well, I don't have my Xbox yet.
When you get your... Well, that's right. I forgot you're a Mac peasant. Yeah.
Exactly.
We can definitely do that. Now, it's said that Destiny 2 Shadowkeep and Forsaken was supposed to have already been out this week, but I could not find it on the Game Pass at all. So I have to double check whether it's available on the Xbox version, but as of right now, it's definitely not available on the PC.
Interesting. I didn't realize that they were
So I don't
putting it
know
out.
where there's a delay. Maybe it's been delayed, yeah. Oh, you can play everything on there very shortly. That was a massive win for those guys as well.
Yeah, that is
which is
huge.
quite hilarious considering that like Bungie's looped all the way back around to dealing with Microsoft again.
Yeah, right.
And then we mentioned this earlier in the show, but this is a big one. That Doom Eternal is going to be there October 1st. I can't believe how quickly it's gone from we're going to buy you out and we're going to have this game on Game Pass in a week. So good. Yeah, definitely a game worth playing. I think, guys, that's going to get us pretty close to done.
3 hours this time.
I mean, next week's going to be worse because we've got Tokyo Game Show, we've got New York Comic Con news. Next week's going to be rough. Actually, that's the week after. Either way, there's a lot happening right now, boys.
Yeah.
And then, Star Wars Squadron stories. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
We'd be like, you remember that one time we killed that Death Star? Yeah, good time.
Yeah, that was us. We killed it.
All right, boys. Thank you very much to you, Piker.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Hebrew Hammer.
Yep, no problem.
All right, folks, if you have enjoyed what you've heard here today, make sure you come and join in the conversation and help us make this an even better show at discord.me/ANR. We have great chats going on there all the time, constantly creating new channels for new games, so make sure you come across and hang out. Make sure you tell your friends about this podcast, because let's face it, nerds like finding other nerds, and that's what we're all about right here. If you really like the show and you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. If you do leave us a 5-star review, it really helps the show. And, of course, we'll read out your review at the end of the show next week. And, of course, if you do have a couple of bucks in your pocket, we're activating all the Patreon perks as of October the 1st. You're more than welcome to stop by. If you like what you see, you'll be able to get the video version of this podcast, for example, starting off from $1. We're recording our first video for that as of next week. That means you'll hear it before everyone else. And I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing as a selling point, but you can see our faces, at least Pikers of mine. Hebrew is going to be the man of mystery for a little bit longer.
There we go.
Head on over to Patreon. So patreon.com/ANR pod. That's going to do it. Thanks for hanging out with us, Alternerds. We'll catch you next week.
See you.